Vance prepares the ritual of reincarnation under Empress Arsmaria's gaze. Committed to protecting her world, reborn as Lloyd, he hurriedly leaves the mansion, purpose driving him as someone calls. Organizing reports and minor duties calmly, he ensures everything is prepared before his journey begins. Accepting responsibilities, Lloyd plans to meet his adoptive mother and accomplish tasks with precision. 8 years later, Lloyd walks mansion halls as escort knight, reflecting on his new identity. Boldly, Lloyd meets Myuria, head of the Countess family, who greets him confidently inside. Realizing she is his adoptive mother, surprises Lloyd, leaving him awed by her presence. Myuria unintentionally activates charm magic, impressing Lloyd with her strength and subtle, persuasive influence. Respectfully, Lloyd comments on her magic, while she praises his skill, resisting the effect. Evaluating his mana, Myuria notes transparency and strength, reminding him she guides him like mother. Gratitude fills Lloyd, as he thanks Myuria for taking him away from the monastery. He vows to support his adoptive mother, determined to repay her kindness unconditionally and faithfully. Overjoyed, Myuria hugs Lloyd tightly, her emotions overflowing with deep happiness and maternal affection. Kanon, observing the scene, rushes forward, startled by the overwhelming display of affection suddenly, demonstrating care. Kanon explains she acted to allow her mother some necessary rest privately. Frustrated, Kanon complains that only Lloyd monopolizes Myuria's attention, openly expressing her emotions. Honestly, she hugs Myuria tightly, showing excitement and attachment, while Lloyd observes her devotion thoughtfully. Kanon reflects on her feelings, noting Lloyd's bond with their mother seems uniquely different. Playfully, Myuria suggests Kanon call Lloyd brother instead of Lloyd, guiding both children lovingly. Following her mother's advice, Kanon agrees, recognizing Lloyd's kindness and committing to act thoughtfully. They discuss Lloyd's hidden magic, noting his abilities remain mostly concealed despite obvious potential strength. Speculation arises regarding his mana color and attributes, curiosity pushing thoughts about untapped potential. Myuria encourages him to reveal his magic when opportunity arises, expressing genuine interest sincerely. Kanon hugs Myuria, asserting she will not relinquish her mother to Lloyd, showing protective affection. Lloyd steps aside, quietly enjoying tea, while considering how to build a friendly bond with Kanon. Receiving first flush Sentia tea, Lloyd expresses gratitude for its careful preparation and delicate presentation. Marietta presents the tea gracefully, earning Lloyd's appreciation for her attentive, meticulous care and guidance. Curious, Lloyd asks Marietta to teach him about tea, wanting to learn while enjoying the ritual. She explains the tea's origin, flavor, and qualities, ensuring Lloyd fully appreciates the experience. Imported from the Saint Empire, the first flush tea's gentle aroma and taste delights him. Lloyd enjoys tea made from globally sourced ingredients, admiring trade and culture behind the beverage. Reflecting, he considers the armistice barrier, deployed a millennium ago to prevent wars between countries. Memories surface of his past life as a Sky Empire knight, an encounter with Empress. He recalls the Empress risking everything to deploy the armistice barrier, ending devastating conflicts. The barrier's life-consuming magic cost her part of lifespan, leaving Lloyd profoundly affected emotionally. Together, Vance and Empress Arsmaria choose the ritual of reincarnation to be reborn together intentionally. They hope to witness a peaceful world, committing solemnly to the ritual with serious intent. 1,000 years later, marking the end of their previous lives, the ritual concludes fully. Reborn as Lloyd, he is adopted by Countess Myuria, beginning a life filled with possibilities. Lloyd walks into this new life, facing the world with careful curiosity and cautious determination. He reflects on searching for Arsmaria, longing to see the world together once again soon. Suddenly, someone calls his name, breaking his thoughts and surprising him unexpectedly in hallway. Kanon hugs Lloyd, noticing his preoccupied expression, teasing him gently about his deep contemplation. Marietta, the head maid, asks if Lloyd wants to improve interactions with Kanon thoughtfully. Noticing a guest approaching, Marietta leaves Lloyd flustered, revealing her ability to sense his feelings. She suggests Lloyd privately speak with Kanon, encouraging meaningful conversation while waiting for the visitor. Lloyd gladly agrees, thanking Marietta for her guidance and considerate support during these quiet moments. Accidentally bumping into Kanon, he apologizes politely, causing her to blush softly from surprise. Courteously, Lloyd lets Kanon pass first, demonstrating thoughtful manners and consideration for her comfort. Guiding her with patience, he flusters Kanon, while strengthening their emerging bond thoughtfully and naturally. Concerned, Lloyd wonders if his careful actions upset Arsmaria's memory or Kanon's present feelings. Kanon admits minor irritation, noting her time with Mayuria shrinks whenever unexpected guests arrive suddenly. Reassuringly, Lloyd acknowledges her feelings, respecting her love for their mother and their shared bond. Victor Rosenwald, Mayuria's elder son, arrives energetically, greeting the household with enthusiasm and courteous formality. Kanon instructs Lloyd to remain calm as Victor greets them, demonstrating composure and graceful demeanor. Victor discusses Kanon's magical potential, emphasizing her innate talent as Countess Mayuria's daughter naturally. Questioning his motives, Kanon listens while Victor explains his desire to witness her abilities fully. He reminds her she will eventually succeed her mother, despite closely resembling Mayuria physically and magically. Observing the tension, Lloyd notes Victor subtly pressures Kanon while maintaining careful attention to details. Determined, Kanon resolves to show her strength, confronting challenges bravely with Lloyd comprehending her resolve fully. Victor suggests moving to a more open area to conduct a mana test, appropriately soon. Explaining, he notes the test is a fearless family tradition assessing magical strength over time. Kanon hesitates, maintaining defensive posture, while Victor reassures her this assessment is not a fight. Victor asks Lloyd why he also attends, curious about his presence during the assessment carefully. Lloyd insists the mana test is not a battle, clarifying no need for isolation. Considering Victor's presence, Lloyd observes intentions carefully while noting the forest location of the upcoming event. Victor explains he will take the test alongside Kanon, requesting Lloyd's cooperation and careful observation. He clarifies the test measures magical strength directly, ensuring Kanon meets required standards for evaluation. Kanon acknowledges Victor's challenge, accepting it while remaining cautious, ensuring she does not attempt escape. Asserting her principles, Kanon disapproves of improper actions, demonstrating honor, courage, and personal independence clearly. Victor instructs Kanon to demonstrate magical power, eagerly anticipating the display of her remarkable abilities. He unleashes an evil spirit for testing, surprising Kanon as she reacts to danger suddenly. Lloyd intervenes, criticizing Victor for the unfair surprise, protecting Kanon from sudden magical threat effectively. Victor hesitates as Lloyd confronts him, visibly shocked by Lloyd's swift, decisive reaction immediately. Kanon supports Lloyd's decision, emphasizing fairness and her willingness to defend her principles in duel. Lloyd stands firmly with Kanon, declaring she is his precious family, protecting her from Victor. Victor remarks on lack of mana, surprised by unusual magical presence, or absence, around Lloyd and Kanon. Kanon attacks in defense, telling Lloyd not to tolerate disrespect, showing courage and protective instincts. Victor angrily criticizes their familial pretense, shaken by their determination, despite lacking blood relation entirely. The magical item becomes uncontrollable, mana drawing forcefully, creating chaos. Neither Victor nor Lloyd can manage. Kanon is surrounded by multiple colors from the unstable magical item, shocked by the spectacle. Lloyd asks Kanon to trust him briefly, stepping forward to protect her from immediate danger. He explains Kanon's healing magic is disadvantaged against multiple attribute evil spirits, guiding her strategy carefully. Lloyd encourages Kanon, saying he will share all risks and fight alongside her courageously. Kanon sees her mana shift color for first time, surprised and curious, while Victor observes. Raising a magical fire shield, Kanon surprises both Victor and herself with her unexpected defense. Kanon realizes the power she uses stems from Lloyd's magic, amazed by its versatility. Victor is shocked, as Lloyd explains wind can erase targeted magic, revealing innovative strategy cleverly. Kanon successfully uses a wind shield to block attacks, baffling Victor and impressing Lloyd simultaneously. Lloyd reveals he can change mana to any color, demonstrating complete mastery and control over magic. Kanon prepares for next evil spirit, an earth element foe, guided carefully by Lloyd's instructions. She avoids the incoming attack precisely, demonstrating skillful control over abilities, impressing observers significantly. Lloyd encourages Kanon to focus and follow instincts, letting her body move naturally during combat. Kanon floats above the battlefield, using wind attribute of shield strategically for precise movement and advantage. She launches an attack, targeting multiple evil spirits simultaneously, showcasing skill development and coordination improvements. Kanon prepares to face the next earth-based evil spirit under Lloyd's guidance, dodging cautiously. Her agility impresses Lloyd as she predicts the spirit's actions and skillfully evades attacks. Lloyd encourages Kanon to trust instincts and allow natural movements while confronting approaching spirits efficiently. Victor observes as Kanon uses wind shield attribute, preparing to counter remaining water and darkness spirits. Kanon attacks while maneuvering with wind shield, targeting evil spirits accurately and demonstrating growing precision. Together, Lloyd and Kanon combine their efforts to overcome the evil spirits, successfully neutralizing every threat. Lloyd focused on mastering his first technique, sensing the flow of his movements and the weight of his short sword. He executed the void turn and shield of the unarmed knights, striking down multiple opponents with precision. His enemies fell, shocked by his speed and skill, calling him a monster. Lloyd assured his injured brother he was fine, showing only minor scratches. Kanon rushed to him, holding his face gently, their bond reaffirmed in the midst of battle. Kanon cried, expressing her pain whenever Lloyd was hurt, unable to hide her fear. Despite exhaustion, she used her healing magic, supporting Lloyd after the fierce battle. Lloyd watched her, and thought she truly was an angel, amazed by her selflessness. Kanon explained, she had been able to sense his words, magically, even while fighting. She realized their magic had intertwined, becoming one, strengthening both in an unexpected, powerful bond. Kanon watched in awe as Lloyd explained their mana sympathy, connecting their hearts magically. He revealed that a guardian contract had formed between them, binding their powers. By believing in him, Lloyd had amplified Kanon's strength, combining their magic to overcome challenges. Lloyd promised to protect Kanon from now on, thanking her for fighting alongside him. He reassured her, vowing protection until adulthood, while Kanon playfully insisted she could protect him too. Lloyd and Kanon laughed together, feeling relieved after the battle. Sharing a light moment, they decided to return to the mansion, considering Victor's situation and planning their next steps. At the mansion, they were greeted by the maids, who emphasized the importance of their safety. Aya Noble instructed the maids to rescue Victor from the forest immediately. Lloyd offered to accompany them, following orders while ensuring Kanon's protection and supporting the mission. Lloyd was invited to sit and pour mana into a magic circle, preparing to observe. The maid explained the circle connected to the record room, allowing them to hear events in another room. Lloyd expressed concern that it might feel like eavesdropping, but was reassured of its purpose. The maid clarified that Mayuria recognized his talent and wanted him to understand the family head's duties. Lloyd quietly acknowledged his mother's guidance, focusing on learning the responsibilities he would inherit. The discussion shifted to monthly expense reports, highlighting financial matters within the domain. Viscount Rosewald explained that the Rosewalds had developed their fiefdom the most among the 3 viscounts. Lloyd's mother asked if there were any other reports, maintaining a commanding presence over the conversation. She revealed her investigation into tax revenue discrepancies, questioning the reasoning behind the unreported growth. The Viscount was shocked as she confronted him directly, challenging his credibility in front of Lloyd. Lloyd's mother addressed Viscount Rosewald, emphasizing the long-standing loyalty of their family to the Sky Empire. She warned that any attempt to overthrow the Countess family required defeating them in direct confrontation. She accused Victor of using even his own child, highlighting his failure and moral lapse. She stressed that children should never be put in danger, expressing firm disapproval. Victor tried to justify his actions, claiming his son acted independently, but she remained unyielding and authoritative. Viscount Rosewald explained that Kanon's healing magic made her unsuited for direct combat, justifying his actions. He emphasized that her mana type would eventually allow her to protect herself as a noble. Lloyd's mother stated that both her children, Kanon and Lloyd, were more than capable of protecting their domain. She reminded Rosewald that protection of the people came before pride or bloodlines. She ordered that his son be re-educated in a boarding school and entrusted his scheming to the Imperial Interrogation Office. Lloyd's mother concluded the discussion, dismissing Viscount Rosewald and granting him permission to leave. Rosewald warned against arrogance, belittling Kanon's abilities and questioning her luck in inheriting talent. Kanon's composed expression unnerved him, a silent display of authority and power. Her overwhelming strength created a visible aura, forcing Rosewald to feel the consequences of her power. Lloyd remained seated, observing quietly, while Kanon calmly resumed her duties, asserting dominance without words. The maid complimented Mayuria on handling Viscount Rosewald skillfully, praising her composure. Lloyd noticed her pride and wondered about her intentions in bringing him here. Mayuria explained she brought him to ensure he would protect Kanon, playing the role of a guiding mother. Lloyd reflected on the situation, recognizing her care and foresight in arranging this. He resolved to stay, committing to protect the house and Kanon, embracing his responsibilities fully. Lloyd vowed to protect Kanon until she reached adulthood, committing to her safety fully. He acknowledged his mother's strength and promised to do his best to grow equally strong. Muria smiled, reassuring him that he needn't worry, pleased by his determination and care. Lloyd apologized to Kanon for frightening her, showing concern for her well-being. Kanon smiled, confident and reassured, explaining she felt safe because her brother saved her. Marietta excused herself politely, while Kanon reassured Lloyd not to worry about her. The group shared a warm moment, with Kanon and Myuria embracing Lloyd as he smiled. They agreed to remain friends, strengthening their bonds after the recent events. Myuria suggested a shared bath, including both Lloyd and Kanon, emphasizing their closeness. Kanon expressed surprise, while Lloyd and Myuria laughed together, enjoying the playful, affectionate moment. Lloyd prepared for a bath with Marietta, feeling uneasy yet obedient to her request. Marietta gently guided Lloyd into the bath, his face reddening as tension built. She approached carefully, her presence overwhelming Lloyd, who noticed her aura had changed. Marietta checked Lloyd's forehead, concerned his temperature might be rising, his heart racing rapidly. They finally stepped into the warm water together, Lloyd flustered, Marietta calm, the moment tense. Lloyd nervously followed Marietta, feeling he could not resist the flow of events. He jumped into the bath behind her, unsure if he should hesitate further. Marietta held a younger girl, offering to wash Lloyd's hair while Mother tended carefully. Lloyd accepted the help, surprised as everyone moved together in the bath peacefully. All three women prepared to assist Lloyd, leaving him flustered yet comforted. Lloyd sat nervously, realizing it was his turn. After Kanon finished bathing, Kanon approached him with a towel, asking where she should begin. First Lloyd hesitated, noticing her angelic presence as she prepared to help carefully. Kanon reminded him gently that his hand had protected her previously. Holding soap, she began washing him attentively, asking about any itchy spots, Lloyd still embarrassed. Lloyd finished with Kanon, feeling both relieved and nervous for the next turn. Marietta stepped forward, expressing happiness and nervousness, while preparing to wash Lloyd. She smiled warmly, thanking Lloyd for bathing with everyone, showing gentle affection. Marietta began rubbing shampoo through his hair, making Lloyd feel relaxed and drowsy. She carefully trimmed and arranged his hair, noticing it had grown a little too long. During dinner, Kanon wiped sauce from Lloyd's face, showing care and attention. Lloyd noticed Marietta seemed disappointed about losing her role, but he reassured her internally. He tasted the fish, noticing the food had improved greatly compared to long ago. Kanon gently called Lloyd's attention, quietly trying to share the meal with him. Lloyd smiled, realizing he and Kanon were finally bonding, allowing him to spoil her gently. Kanon finished her portion of food. Lloyd reassured her, promising support for next time. Marietta decided to help make food easier for Lloyd, planning ahead with care. Kanon expressed her desire to cook herself, determined to enjoy and control her meals. The girls discussed helping and participating, agreeing to contribute with excitement and cooperation. Lloyd and Kan smiled, united in preparing a good meal to surprise him together. Lloyd reflected on the dinner, happy yet aware the moment of peace couldn't last forever. He wondered if Arsmeria had been reborn somewhere in the world, determined to find her. Lloyd realized he needed help for his mission, glancing at Marietta with purpose. He approached her, sensing she had something important to tell him. Marietta instructed Lloyd to stop by the study before bed, hinting at future guidance. Marietta finished washing Lloyd, noting soap on his shoulder, calling him docile and obedient. Lloyd finally relaxed, thinking he could take a break after a difficult day. He sat on his bed, flipping through books about magical beasts and forests nearby. Lloyd discovered a creature called Bastite, a guardian deity of an ancient mountain village. Hearing dinner called, Lloyd closed the book and prepared to leave, curiosity lingering about Bastite. Lloyd hurried to the study, sensing that an important matter awaited urgently from his mother. Suddenly someone placed their hands over his eyes, startling him and triggering instinctive reaction. His mother fully revealed herself, radiating warmth and authority, which caught him off guard. Apologizing for his absence, Lloyd explained the duties that had kept him away previously. She reassured him gently, while Lloyd expressed his loyalty, protecting Kanon with sincere devotion. Listening carefully, Lloyd absorbed his mother's words, feeling her gratitude and readiness to support. Determined, he revealed the specific person he sought, explaining why the matter was urgent. Understanding his resolve, his mother promised unwavering support, prepared to assist him achieving goals. Sharing the sought person's name, Lloyd solidified their shared mission and sense of purpose. Chains suddenly appeared, restraining him, as a mysterious figure approached, creating a sense of danger. Speaking became difficult for Lloyd, realizing disclosing the name carried serious consequences beyond understanding. Wondering aloud, he questioned whether the reincarnation ritual restricted him from revealing past memories. Frustration mounting, he reached toward the history book, hoping the information would be recorded clearly. Embracing him tightly, his mother offered comfort as he struggled with invisible magical constraints. Lloyd apologized again, while she reassured him, emphasizing he need not reveal everything forcefully. Feeling comforted, Lloyd's heart calmed as his mother spoke with warm and soothing words. Using gentle magic, She helped him relax, demonstrating her care and tender understanding effectively. Curious, he asked if magic could help locate the person he was seeking urgently. She suggested caution, indicating the spell might work, but advised careful use before attempting it. Revealing a secret book, she explained it was hidden in the mansion for search purposes. Resolutely, Lloyd began examining the magical book, hoping it contained the crucial clues he needed. Walking carefully at night, he held his mother's hand to avoid slipping along the path. She explained the book's origin, received from her father, still maintaining its magical relevance. Discovering a magic circle outdoors, they studied it carefully, and Lloyd questioned its intended purpose. She described the ritual, explaining it involved the stars and requesting answers from the heavens. Studying the stars together, Lloyd and his mother prepared to activate the magical circle carefully. Explaining the need for blood, she detailed the searcher role required to complete the ritual. Volunteering, Lloyd pricked his finger carefully, reassuring himself as he fulfilled the necessary magical role. With gentle magic, his mother healed him immediately, restoring the small wound with loving care. Instructing him, she emphasized focusing on the person he sought while she performed the spell. Concentrating together, they prepared to observe the magical circle, seeking signs from the heavens above. She explained that the ritual could reveal more than stars, hinting at hidden information. Lloyd served as the searcher, offering his blood carefully to activate the magical procedure effectively. Concentrating fully, he focused on the person he sought as the ritual energy flowed outward. A light appeared, revealing the person existed during the same era, but it suddenly vanished. Noticing the light, Lloyd realized it had not disappeared completely, but rather wandered away slightly. His mother revealed that the light divided into 6, meaning 6 individuals needed to be located. Meanwhile, the other princesses appeared across various empires, each unaware of the other's connected existence. In the Holy Empire, one fragment manifested clearly, revealing her presence within that vast world environment. Additional fragments appeared in the evil and human empires, each containing a portion of the soul. Observing remaining fragments across the Oni Empire, Lloyd recognized the scattered presence and their exact locations. In the Beast Empire, he saw multiple fragments, confirming the people he sought were spread widely, floating gracefully. One fragment appeared in the Dragon Empire, untouched by any influence from below. Determined firmly, Lloyd vowed to find all fragments and reunite them together with Arsmeria permanently. The 7 empires remained in constant conflict across the continent. In Sky Empire, year 1014, Vance Shutararu arrived at the royal court, summoned by the Empress to discuss urgent matters. The Empress expressed her desire to witness a world completely free from warfare and conflict. She questioned Vance about the possible outcomes if all battles and disputes suddenly vanished. Vance admitted uncertainty, but vowed to guide the Empress, hoping for a clear future together. The Empress promised to portray the future for Vance if he could not envision it himself. 4 years passed before Vance met Sky Empress Arsmeria Rune Michia in person at the Grand Palace. Citizens watched anxiously as the Empress activated the legendary Armistice Barrier to stop all conflicts. Vance raced desperately through the palace, hoping to reach the Empress before the barrier fully took effect. Calling out her name, Vance urged the Empress to wait, fearing events might unfold too quickly. Fried prepared to meet the Empress, carrying his duty as escort and protector of Her Majesty. Vance confronted Fried, questioning why he did not prevent the Empress from activating the Armistice Barrier. Fried explained, the barrier was a way to end fighting, even if it risked their lord's life. The Empress sacrificed herself to achieve the peaceful future she desired for the world. She challenged Vance, demanding he confront her directly, testing his resolve to protect Her Majesty faithfully. Vance expressed his desire to continue serving, protecting the next ruler as leader of the Knights. Fried reflected on wanting to fight alongside Vance one more time, remembering their shared past. Vance reassured Fried that respect and acknowledgement came naturally, even without proving himself further. The Empress lay in the chamber, Vance approaching her, after the Armistice Barrier deployment. She lamented her short reign, feeling regret even after achieving peace and protecting the world. The 7 emperors acknowledged peace, crediting Vance's power in ending the continent-wide conflicts. Vance wondered if survival until the formal conference of the empires would even be possible. The Empress reminded him that only a few hours remained before her soul would vanish. She reflected on the passage of 4 years since deploying the Armistice Barrier. Vance admitted the peace felt fleeting and feared the fighting would not truly end completely. The Empress observed Vance, noting his voice remained steady, despite the emotional weight of recent events. Vance declared he would not cry, reminding the Empress she already knew the reason behind his resolve. He offered his own life to protect hers until her time fully ran out, keeping his vow. Vance explained that since that day, he had grown into a new, stronger self. The Empress, tears in her eyes, called him a fool and the world's biggest idiot. Vance expressed his desire to perform the ritual of reincarnation alongside the Empress. He vowed to see the world she envisioned, no matter if it took a century or more. The Empress questioned why he would make such a promise, filled with quiet doubt. Vance reassured her that this was not the end for them, holding her hand firmly. They shared a tender moment, united in hope, preparing to face the future together. Vance was reincarnated 1,000 years later, beginning a search for Ars Maria's fragmented soul. Using secret magic, he discovered her soul had been divided into 6 separate pieces. Determined, Vance resolved he would not give up until he located every fragment. Even centuries later, he continued his quest while enrolling in magic schools to gather information. He realized that finding her meant seeking multiple people, each carrying a portion of her soul. Moving cautiously through dense woods, Lloyd senses a massive, dangerous creature descending from above. Suddenly, a huge beast lunges forward, smashing branches as Lloyd deftly avoids each strike. Smiling confidently, Lloyd prepares his initial attack while the beast charges aggressively toward him. Dodging swiftly in mid-air, he moves elegantly while the beast struggles to adjust its trajectory. With perfect accuracy, Lloyd slashes through the air, defeating the creature and remaining completely calm. Trapped inside a narrow canyon, Lloyd is surrounded as the dangerous beast watches him carefully. Launching a second technique, he leaps high, narrowly evading the monster's sharp and deadly swipe. Carefully analyzing shadows, Lloyd calculates a precise and safe path above the aggressive beast's attack. Landing strategically upon the creature, Lloyd claims victory over Bastith after an intense and fierce battle. Observing in surprise, the creature shows shock, while Lloyd calmly rides forward through the forest. Confidently holding the creature, Lloyd notices its significant growth since their very first encounter together. Warmly smiling, he recalls his 8-year-old wish to finally become friends with the creature. Lloyd asks about the creature's habits, carefully observing its responses and reactions to his questions. Sitting atop the creature, he explains his plans to attend the World Magic College. Curious, the creature hints it desires to accompany Lloyd on his journey to the academy. Expressing admiration, the creature compliments Lloyd's strength, teasing him about following it during future adventures. Smiling firmly, Lloyd refuses any other name and promises they will surely meet again. Returning to the estate, he feels relieved, arriving just on time for breakfast, promptly. Noticing the aroma of soup, Lloyd immediately feels drawn toward the freshly prepared morning meal. Kanan gently asks Lloyd to taste the dish, sharing a comforting moment together happily. Lloyd samples the rich flavors, impressed, while Kanan watches patiently, smiling with quiet anticipation nearby. Smiling kindly, Kanan reminds him to prepare carefully for the meal while standing nearby attentively. She asks for a prayer before the table, filled with an abundant breakfast spread. Expressing gratitude, the family offers thanks for their meal and acknowledges blessings from above. Departing the estate, Lloyd and Kanan wave farewell to Marietta and the loyal household staff. Reassuring them, Marietta promises Lloyd that the entire household will always remain present for them. Expressing heartfelt thanks and love, Lloyd addresses everyone before leaving for the magical academy carefully. Marietta adjusts Lloyd's tie, teaching him proper etiquette expected of a gentleman in any situation. Promising to do his best, Lloyd vows not to embarrass the noble, fearless family. Observing curiously, the creature appears bewildered by its immense size compared to previous encounters earlier. Lloyd explains that Bastith, the king of cats, will transport them swiftly to the magic college. Kanan grips tightly, while Lloyd reassures her that riding will be completely safe during travel. Soaring into the air, they depart on Bastith's back, waving farewell toward the waiting estate. Lloyd and Kanan step into the World Magic School, marveling at enormous towers and flying creatures above. Students arrive from all 7 empires, each preparing diligently for the challenging entrance examination ahead. Lloyd rides a massive magical beast, soaring high while guiding Kanan safely through campus grounds. Kanan struggles to maintain balance, sliding slightly while Lloyd holds her securely, preventing any falls. Safely on the ground, Lloyd and Kanan scan the academy, anticipating challenges that lie ahead. Through the courtyard, Lloyd carries Kanan, drawing curious glances and whispered conversations from surrounding students nearby. Blushing furiously, Kanan feels embarrassed as the crowd watches their unusual attention grabbing a rival carefully. Observing the crowd, Lloyd remains composed while scanning for potential disturbances or unexpected problems around them. A powerful student, Aurelis Grandshark, appears with her agile dragon, blocking their pathway strategically across the square. Introducing herself, Aurelis reveals her title as the Evil Empire Princess, signaling future rivalry challenges soon. Lloyd confronts a new student, Elise Rosencrantz, who commands attention and issues orders to others nearby. Elise emerges as the Holy Empire Princess, radiating authority and power. drawing everyone's careful attention immediately. Observing carefully, Lloyd sees Aurelis and Elise facing off, tension rising between holy and evil princesses. Nearby, he notices the Beast Empire princess, sensing her immense magical dragon-related energy power nearby. Clearly, several other princesses stand present, while the Oni Empire princess is absent, completing the gathering scene. Lloyd realizes that imperial families from every country have gathered together here for the upcoming examination. Historical tension exists between the holy and evil empires, likely causing a significant clash very soon. This examination could escalate into an international issue, attracting attention and concern from all participating nations. Aurelis Grandshark plans to resolve conflicts decisively, preparing for an unavoidable serious confrontation with opponents. Elise Rosencrantz steps forward, confident in her holy magic, preparing a strategic magical duel accordingly. Questioning his readiness, Elise remarks that Lloyd is far too young to attend this college. Teasing Elise, Aurelis calls her the little holy princess, emphasizing their ongoing rivalry with sharp wit. Both princesses unleash their magical powers simultaneously, creating dragons and energy to confront each other fiercely. Preparing carefully, they exchange a chain of commandments, intensifying their duel and amplifying overwhelming magical presence. Initiating her first technique called Silence, Elise generates overlapping waves, leaving silence resonating throughout the area. Both princesses' magic unexpectedly fails to activate, surprising them and causing shock during their intense confrontation. Kanon questions Lloyd's involvement, while he remains calm, silently observing the unexpected magical situation quietly nearby. By suppressing reverberation, Lloyd nullifies the incantation, preventing disastrous effects from the combined magical energy attacks. Relief spreads as he realizes the worst situation has been avoided without harm to anyone. Shyly, Aurelis admits losing interest in the duel, ending the magical confrontation peacefully, without further escalation. Elise apologizes sincerely for discussing ages, admitting that it is still early for her to attend. Smiling, Aurelis responds, expressing that she looks forward to resolving the rivalry properly another day. Determination shines in her eyes, showing clearly that she is not finished confronting the Holy Princess. Observing silently, Lloyd notices that someone unrefined interfered with their magic from behind without being seen. Preparing to leave, Lloyd walks with Kanon, concerned he may have drawn too much attention earlier. Aurelis boldly declares her ambition, stating she will become the best one day, clearly motivated. Students filled the arena with energy, eagerly anticipating the start of the important evaluation stage. Stepping forward, Matilda Lindworm commanded attention, her presence signaling the beginning of formal proceedings decisively. Introducing herself, she examined each candidate carefully, her sharp gaze assessing their readiness and potential. Highlighting students' accomplishments, she reminded everyone all participants must meet strict standards without exception. Princesses stood confidently, determined to face challenges, their skills prepared for the rigorous trials ahead. The group of princesses assembled, maintaining control as imperial family members, concealed their hidden magical strengths. Explaining the Mana Determination exam, Matilda described how 5 students would display their magical abilities. Addressing the assembled crowd, she wished participants success while emphasizing fairness during the evaluation process. Focused, Lloyd considered every possibility, determined to uncover any information about Ars Maria while succeeding. With the test commencing, his sister stayed nearby, as he prepared to demonstrate his abilities. Before the exam began, Kanon approached her brother, hoping to join the same class together. Gerdo responded gently yet teasingly, showing attention while expressing care and concern for her feelings. Feeling flustered, Kanon hesitated, apologizing as the sudden closeness took her by surprise unexpectedly. Another student objected, but Gerdo calmly defended Kanon, asserting control and authority over the situation. Introducing himself fully, he established a connection with Kanon, earning her admiration and growing respect. Feeling an urgent desire, Gerdo prepared to reveal his powerful abilities before the upcoming exam. Boldly he introduced himself as the Marquis family's 3rd son, drawing attention from everyone present. Kanon and Lloyd analyzed him carefully, questioning both his background and his noble family lineage. Clarifying his position, Gerdo explained he belonged to a noble empire, gaining cautious respect accordingly. Confidently laughing, he reassured Kanon that both were nobles, making her feel less concerned. Realizing her higher status, Kanon apologized while Lloyd adjusted his behavior appropriately to show respect. Addressing Verona and Balgus with care, he showed respect while acknowledging their presence formally. Gerdo explained that loyalty among companions ensured all 3 would succeed in being properly accepted. Balgus encouraged Kanon, expressing confidence in her magical skills and boosting her self-assured determination. Offering a personal invitation, Gerdo invited Kanon to join them for a shared meal afterwards. Kanon called to her brother, signaling concern as the escalating situation became increasingly tense around them. Gerdo clarified local customs, explaining how lower-ranking individuals could share opinions respectfully with superiors. Stepping forward, Lloyd Fearless introduced himself as Kanon's protective brother, ready to intervene decisively. Addressing Gerdo directly, he emphasized the difficulty of obeying another country's marquis completely unconditionally. Understanding his point, Gerdo prepared for a fair confrontation, while considering Lloyd's perspective thoughtfully. Confronting Lloyd, Gerdo questioned whether an evil empire marquis could truly be inferior politically. Lloyd explained that the Sky Empire lacked an emperor now, granting historical superiority to the evil emperor. Preparing for the upcoming exam, both sides sought to prove who possessed superior magical skills. Gerdo demonstrated personal interest, wishing Kanon success while showing he was invested in her performance. Appreciating the support, Kanon readied herself confidently, determined to face the test with full focus. Playfully frustrated, Kanon insisted her brother should assert authority, commanding respect among others present immediately. She emphasized her brother's greatness, proclaiming him the best in the Sky Empire and unmatched globally. Standing tall, Lloyd silently accepted the praise, reflecting seriously on his responsibility and role effectively. Preparing herself, he stepped forward to protect Kanon, acting as her guardian and reliable protector. Resolving to defend her completely, Lloyd ensured no harm would reach her during the examination process. Lloyd and Kanon celebrated their success after completing the first exam beside the enormous guardian fox. Reflecting on Mayuria's accomplishments, they imagined she must have also passed her tests easily, determined to improve. Lloyd trained harder to allow Mayuria to regain her rightful senior position. Both resolved to give their utmost effort in the next exam together confidently. The flashback revealed Mayuria's adolescence, her magical abilities, academy accomplishments, and returning home early responsibly. Kanon displayed frustration, still feeling unsettled about the unexpected events that occurred earlier that day. Responding strongly to teasing from a classmate, Kanon's emotions flared while Lloyd observed quietly nearby. A male student displayed impressive fire magic, captivating Lloyd and his younger sister immediately. Kanon evaluated his skills carefully, noticing his composed nature behind the powerful fire display. Lloyd examined other students' magical affinities, noting strengths, weaknesses, and potential advantages strategically in class. Observing his magical skill closely, Lloyd and Kanon admired the purity and exceptional strength displayed. Recognition for her abilities made Kanon blush, acknowledging her remarkable control and impressive magical talent. Lloyd praised Kanon's skill in mana manipulation, while the guardian fox silently observed the scene. Kanon struggled, attempting to protect the fragile mana crystal, demonstrating her quick reflexes effectively. Letfacier Primrose observed quietly, analyzing the student's performances and growth carefully during the magical trial. Kanon's powerful mana strained the magical device, nearly causing it to break under pressure. Releasing his mana, Lloyd astonished everyone, showing remarkable control and impressive mastery of magical energy. Both Kanon and Letfacier were shocked by how he maintained control over immense power. Lloyd opted to continue the exams inconspicuously, showing humility while demonstrating incredible magical abilities successfully. Only Kanon and Lloyd could truly perceive his exceptional magical skill among other students. Letfacier concentrated on Lloyd's mana, sensing its depth, strength, and unusual magical qualities carefully. Yuyuka Amanagi appeared unexpectedly, surprising Letfacier while examining the students' exam papers with keen interest. Revealing her director status, Yuyuka casually inspected each candidate's magical performance with focused attention and judgment. She noticed one student released a massive surge of mana earlier, catching her attention. Considering the rare amber-white mana, Yuyuka questioned the candidate's potential significance and magical capabilities closely. Letfacier reviewed the temporary mana readings, realizing they might be deceptive or potentially misleading. Unexpectedly, focusing on Lloyd's record, she confirmed her prior expectations regarding his extraordinary magical abilities correctly. The strain cracked Kanon's magical device, revealing the extent of her immense magical potential clearly. Yuyuka instructed Letfacier to collect the graduated students' magical devices and send them to her lab. Speculating about Lloyd's potential, Yuyuka wondered which abilities he might reveal during the simulated battle later. Seba Mitsurugi explains the combat test, where students project their mana into a separate space. He instructs participants to enter the designated magic circle, noting results may teleport them. Rin, the second princess, beams with anticipation, eager to reunite with her brother afterwards. Seba mentions he also has a sister, hoping siblings avoid conflict, piquing the boy's curiosity. He expresses gratitude to the candidate, inviting him to step into the teleportation circle. Lloyd focuses intently, preparing for the illusion battle, treating it exactly like a real fight. He surveys the barren battlefield carefully, observing the open dueling area before making any movement. Gerdo emerges from behind a jagged rock, declaring Lloyd will serve as his stepping stone. He explains the opportunity, confidently stating he now possesses the chance to defeat Lloyd outright. Gerdo warns that this moment is where Lloyd will inevitably be forced to withdraw. Lloyd stands resolute, certain he cannot afford defeat, despite the opponent's overwhelming confidence. Gerdo taunts him, claiming that mana dominance decides the illusion battle, leaving no chance for victory. Lloyd remains focused, understanding Gerdo underestimates him due to his apparent lack of magical affinity. He prepares to counter, knowing Gerdo plans to burn the illusion repeatedly to overpower him. Gerdo launches the Firefinger Bullet, a concentrated flame attack aimed directly at Lloyd's projected form. He laughs, confident the attack will crush Lloyd, mocking his abilities without showing any hesitation. Lloyd activates First Guardian style, creating a protective ring of protection around himself, anticipating the assault. He studies the flames carefully, analyzing Gerdo's attack patterns to anticipate each dangerous movement precisely. Gerdo is shocked. Lloyd remains standing, despite borrowing immense power from the demon god of flames. Lloyd explains the attack's power is limited, as Gerdo's mana is sourced only from himself. Gerdo announces his intention to annihilate Lloyd, summoning fire spirits to scorch the entire battlefield. He conjures massive fire spirits, splitting them strategically to completely surround and relentlessly pressure Lloyd. The summoned fire spirits chase Lloyd, designed to burn him entirely and prevent any possible escape. Lloyd employs a substitution technique, leaving only his will behind to evade attacks from all directions. He cleverly manipulates the spirits into attacking each other, causing them to collide and be destroyed. Lloyd maneuvers carefully, warning Gerdo against focusing only on the front while moving behind him. He confronts Gerdo, asking if the intense battle should end now or continue further. Gerdo hesitates, surprised, as Lloyd's strategic approach and composure challenge the opponent's previously unwavering confidence. He steps back cautiously, re-evaluating the battle in response to Lloyd's unexpected tactical movements and strategy. The scene shifts, depicting Gerdo and Lloyd's reflections alongside children, emphasizing lessons that were learned. Gerdo acknowledges there is no turning back, committing fully to his actions with resolute determination. He expresses frustration, revealing the pain associated with being the third son in his family. Lloyd notices the flames have turned completely black, sensing a significant shift in magical energy. He identifies the dark energy as potent darkness mana, realizing Gerdo's attack is far more dangerous. Gerdo invokes the demon god of flames, intending to cauterize everything with powerful, judgmental fire. He summons the sinful fireball, combining his fire spirits and dark energy into a massive assault. Gerdo declares it as the third attack, determined to conclude the battle decisively, without hesitation. Rudius Greyrat refuses to retreat, summoning all his strength to cast Sinful Fireball. He launches the blazing attack at Lloyd, determined to end the battle decisively. Lloyd Astrea blocks the fireball effortlessly, focused and aware he cannot afford defeat. He counters with Third Guardian style, matching Rudius's power with precise control. Lloyd reflects the energy using lunar reflection, his response bright like the full moon. Lloyd Astrea raises his hand, preparing to show his full magical power. He channels energy, astonishing Rudius, who cannot believe someone uses demon god power without a contract. Lloyd applies the first and second Guardian styles, creating protective shields for himself and his target. He unleashes the third Guardian style, turning the enemy's magic into a sword to counterattack. Rudius struggles as Lloyd pushes him back, forcing him to confront his overwhelming strength. Rudius's hands begin to fade, showing the weakening effects of the overwhelming magic battle. He struggles, sending a powerful magical strike with all remaining energy toward Lloyd. Lloyd counters by skillfully redirecting the attack across the rocky battlefield, maintaining control. Lloyd analyzes Gerdo's repeated attacks, noting that defending consumes less mana for an experienced fighter. He realizes the battle is an illusion, requiring careful mana management to sustain his defenses. Lloyd Astrea begins teleporting, marking the completion of the magical examination. He arrives in a mysterious hall, realizing he hasn't returned to his body yet. Rudius sees the imperial princesses of the Six Empires approaching within the hall. He stands in the center, unsure about the purpose of this unexpected scene. Lloyd slowly turns, noticing a familiar figure behind him, adding to his uncertainty. Rudius is trapped in chains, feeling a familiar intense sensation from a past encounter. He sees the same scene repeating, with a mysterious figure entangled in the chains. Rudius watches as the girl appears confused and distressed, struggling to understand her situation. Kanon calls out desperately, recognizing her brother, revealing her worry and relief. Rudius finally sees Kanon safe, breathing a sigh of relief as the danger fades. Lloyd recalls his arrival at the school, feeling the weight of his purpose and expectations. He realizes coming here was the right choice, spotting Ars Maria nearby, her presence reassuring. Kanon appears, her expression filled with recognition and relief upon seeing her brother. Lloyd stands silently, unsure how to respond, observing the unexpected reunion before him. Kanon expresses her worry for him during the combat trial, admiring his strength and resilience. Kanon apologizes, admitting she is a worrywart, her cheeks flushed with emotion. Lloyd reassures her silently, thinking of his responsibility to protect and not let her cry. He promises to stand by her forever, vowing to protect Kanon until the very end. Kanon steps into the academy, discovering a special building designated for the most elite students. A smiling girl welcomes Kanon, explaining she knew Kanon would attend this academy, eventually. Feeling shy and embarrassed, Kanon is comforted as the boy promises to stay close. Watching them quietly, Kuzunoha Tilfa and Yuzuriha Tilfa are curious about their developing connection. The twin princesses continue observing Kanon and her friends, noting their interactions with careful attention. Kanon and Lloyd spot the beast princesses, questioning why they are standing so closely nearby. Kanon introduces herself formally, revealing her Sky Empire heritage, presenting Lloyd as her protective brother, carefully observing. The twin princesses wonder whether Kanon and Lloyd might be actual siblings together. Kuzunoha Tilfa and Yuzuriha Tilfa clearly state they are siblings, introducing themselves respectfully to Kanon. They explain age doesn't matter between them, showing equality while emphasizing their family bond deeply. Lloyd admires the sisters' close relationship, appreciating that having a friend as sister is wonderful. Kuzunoha Tilfa embraces Yuzuriha Tilfa warmly, declaring her sister is also her most precious companion. The sisters express joy, and Kanon observes, realizing how well they truly understand each other. The twin princesses mention they are also members of the special department, observing new classmates. They point out no imperial princess is ever alone, providing support for students around them. Lloyd notices a guard observing from afar, aware of the powerful beastman's attentive vigilance. He senses pressure from the beastmen nearby, yet detects no hostility coming from the princesses. Kanon and Lloyd step behind a magical curtain to block any potential interference from spells. The Guardian carefully watches their movements, analyzing every action Kanon and Lloyd perform cautiously together. Twin princesses explain they can detect the strong scent of a powerful beastman nearby. They describe how Bast lives in the forest near the fearless household, transporting them. Contracting with a Sky Empire citizen is difficult for the King of Cats beast. Lloyd approaches carefully, unsure how the beast will respond to him attempting to mount. The sisters sniff Lloyd, confirming he is truthful, and his intentions appear completely genuine now. They conclude the beastman's smell is trustworthy, suggesting the cat will likely accept and cooperate. The princesses mention cat powder while observing Lloyd, questioning its purpose and significance in this situation. Lloyd tries preventing Kuzunoha and Yuzuriha from approaching Bast, the large beast guardian patiently waiting. He explains, giving Bast silver vine alcohol earlier, concerned about its possible effect on him. Bast assures him the alcohol has minimal effect, calming everyone present with gentle reassurance. Kanon reminds the princesses to maintain proper dignity, despite the alcohol seeming unusually delicious today. Kanon teases Lloyd to remain relaxed, while the laughing princesses watch the situation unfolding closely. Lloyd formally greets Bast, acknowledging the beast guardian as a respected and peculiar warrior figure. After receiving the information about Bast, the princesses decide it is appropriate to leave now. Waving goodbye cheerfully, the twin princesses promise to see everyone again at school tomorrow. Kanon observes Lloyd, noticing he interacts easily with the twin princesses and their companions. Lloyd and Kanon decide to follow the others, agreeing to proceed together without hesitation. Now two teachers stand waiting at the academy's entrance, preparing to greet Kanon and Lloyd formally. Letitia Sensei and Sabah Sensei offer congratulations, acknowledging Kanon and Lloyd's accomplishments and their academic progress. Kanon receives praise for her grade, mana affinity, and illusion combat score among royals. Amanagi Sensei confirms Lloyd's mana affinity and announces a future remeasurement to track his progress. Lloyd receives warnings to be cautious if choosing to go, considering possible risks ahead carefully. Seba Sensei discusses Lloyd's illusion battle score, redirecting the conversation toward his combat abilities thoroughly. The deputy director, responsible for examinations, personally requests Lloyd's presence to discuss important student matters. She emphasizes the summoning's significance, highlighting her direct involvement and the importance of this meeting. The prestigious title, Eyes of Jurisdiction, from the Dragon People, conveys an intimidating presence of strength. The deputy director highlights Lloyd's rare colorless mana and emphasizes his exceptionally high research value. Now gratitude is expressed to Lloyd for attending the school, replacing the director's personal message properly. The director directs attention toward the main topic, emphasizing the significance of the discussion for everyone. Kanon and Lloyd prepare themselves attentively as the deputy director begins asking questions directly and seriously. She informs Lloyd that a specific request exists, requiring his full attention during this important conversation. Confidently, Leon entered the academy's main office, seeking permission for special enrollment approval. The head carefully reviewed his petition and explained it exceeded permitted enrollment restrictions. She stated an objection prevented any ranking of the 6 imperial princesses above 7th. Leon requested the princesses join his class, and his proposal received immediate approval. He asked her assistants to ensure a secure environment for the princess's education. Studying a large map, Leon noticed 7 empires had formed alliances pledging lasting peace. Considering the princesses, he realized personal affairs could not interfere with their school responsibilities. Resolutely, Leon promised his class would maintain proper conduct despite challenges that could arise. Suddenly, a young woman named Mio appeared in the corridor, startling Leon unexpectedly there. She clarified she was only temporarily instructing, reassuring Leon and maintaining professional composure calmly. Recognizing Mai Yu as his mother, Leon observed her disguised appearance, yet stayed fully aware. Surprised, he asked her reason for being present at the academy so suddenly. Mai Yu explained she returned as a temporary instructor, assigned specifically to the special department. She assured Leon she managed negotiations in the capital, preventing any concerns at home. Expressing affection, Leon embraced her, appreciating the devoted, caring aspect of her presence fully. Lloyd and Canon noticed Maya Yu as their mother, feeling comforted by her reassuring presence. Maya explained she must remain impartial, prioritizing her role as instructor over maternal concerns. She directed them to address each other respectfully, enforcing proper etiquette within the school. She reminded them they officially became students of the Magic Academy, attending classes regularly. Mayu suggested they walk to the dormitories while catching up on news and experiences. Mayu encouraged Kanon and Lloyd to jump onto her chest if walking becomes tiring. Kanon promised to assist her, fully pledging effort while following Mayu-sensei's guidance carefully. They reached the noble housing district, prepared to enter lodgings for every represented country. Mayu pointed toward the Sky Empire's residence, directing them clearly to the correct lodging. They were welcomed warmly back, marking their safe return under Mayu's attentive supervision faithfully. 2 maids introduced themselves as Sorer and Cosette, offering service to the fearless family. Leon observed the maids, questioning whether they were also enrolled as magic school students. They explained being second-year scholarship students, performing duties to cover tuition through their work. Prepared for daily responsibilities, the maids demonstrated readiness to contribute effectively to household duties. Kanon expressed enthusiasm for cooking, requesting the opportunity to work alongside the diligent maids. Leon impressed seniors with his demeanor, who were charmed by his responsible, kind character. He asked Maya Yu for permission to explore the grounds with her loyal companion, Tito. Mayu allowed Tito to explore freely, providing sufficient space for the creature to roam. Observing carefully, Leon admired the prepared area, noting accommodations included a dedicated space for Tito. A visitor from the Holy Empire arrived, drawing attention as an official escort approached quickly. Tito ran ahead, guiding Leon and Kanon towards the approaching figure with surprising speed and urgency. Claudina, escort to Holy Imperial Princess Alicial Denka, formally introduced herself to Leon with courtesy. Leon inquired about the reason for Claudina's unexpected visit, arriving at such an unusual hour. Claudina explained that the special department, including princesses and their escorts, formed a single class. She noted the department also included top-ranking students, alongside other appointed representatives for classes. Claudina explained Alicial Denka had aimed to achieve the highest score during the recent examinations. Even Ryunea Denka, Dragon Princess, refused the freshman representative role, deferring it to others instead. Leon realized a top-ranking student existed outside of the known 6 imperial princesses. He admitted having no further knowledge about rankings, showing his uncertainty and concerned expression clearly. Claudina thanked Leon for responding and politely asked forgiveness for the abrupt, sudden questioning. Aurelius Denka, the demon princess, competed for first place in the examination, showing great determination. Afterward, she discussed her intentions with the other princesses, clarifying her goals carefully and politely. Ryunea Denka instructed Leon that she wished to fight alongside the suitable person in combat. Claudina informed Leon that the special department students would begin lessons scheduled for tomorrow promptly. The enrollment ceremony was announced for 3 days later, for all students in the department. Claudina advised Leon to exercise caution interacting with the Demon Empire princess during upcoming events. Kanan woke gently, smiling softly, as she greeted her brother Lloyd, her eyes filled with warmth. Lloyd stirred in his bed, surprised to find Kanan leaning over him, the morning sunlight spilling into the room. He wondered if Kanan had moved from her own room while he had briefly fallen asleep. Pondering her sudden presence, Kanan realized she had dozed off unexpectedly beside Lloyd, her cheeks reddening as she tried to compose herself. Elsewhere, Lloyd continued his morning routine, lifting a bucket at the well, focused and unaware of Kanan's earlier actions. Lloyd lifted water from the well, unaware that 2 maids nervously watched from nearby, trying not to peek. The maids quickly covered themselves with towels, while Lloyd carried the bucket carefully, focused on his task. Kanan approached, reminding Lloyd about bathing with hot water, to avoid catching a cold, softly scolding him. She offered him a towel, urging him to cover himself, her expression a mix of concern and warmth. Lloyd and Kanan stood together as the maids looked on, embarrassed, noting how intimate the moment appeared between them. Lloyd and Kanan arrived at the academy gates, observing the strict guards and sensing heightened security. Kanan expressed concern about the tight security, while Lloyd contemplated the reason behind such vigilance. Inside, the Grand Hall displayed representatives from 6 countries, each princess standing elegantly, signaling an important gathering. Lloyd noted the absence of the Oni Empire princess, preparing to greet the attending imperial princesses with Kanan teachers, introduced themselves. Siba Mitsurugi, overseeing magic combat, and Letitia Primrose handling magic theory, signaling the start of formal lessons. Aurelis received instructions from the principal, told to open her arms as part of a formal demonstration. She reminded everyone that this hall held representatives of each country, emphasizing proper manners and respect. Aurelis explained that building mutual respect between nations was the Pope's directive, though it seemed irrelevant to some. She firmly stated that her country's honor was paramount, refusing to take lessons unless that principle was respected. Ryunea Midgard, the Imperial Dragon Princess, quietly revealed she had been sleeping, observing the tense interactions around her calmly. Ryunea explained she had been asleep because the discussion involved topics she found trivial, surprising others. She reminded the group that the mana ranking should be public, referencing a high-ranking student, human Imperial Princess, Suseri Hoshizuki, objected firmly, asserting that treating someone like an object could not be forgiven. The onlookers whispered as Ryunea and Suseri exchanged tense words, each measuring the other's authority and presence. Ryunea glared at provocations, signaling she would not respond to cheap tactics, maintaining her imperial composure. Ryunea demanded answers from the instructors, insisting they explain why mana measurement results were kept secret. She addressed the instructors with authority, determined to uncover the truth behind the rankings. Kanan and Letitia questioned the secrecy, expressing their disagreement with the idea that everyone's rank should be equal. Ryunea singled out Lloyd Fearless, the Sky Empire's Count family heir, seeking confirmation of his identity and achievements. Lloyd realized Aurelis had discovered he was the top-ranking student, his accomplishment recognized amid tense scrutiny from the assembly. Ryunea explained that Lloyd's acceptance to the normal department did not concern her, focusing on her imperial duties. She addressed Elysial, noting that their countries maintained different Sky Pact agreements, highlighting historical distinctions. The Sky Pact was described, a 1,000-year-old arrangement ensuring peace, allowing each nation to uphold its national principles. Ryunea emphasized the Evil Empire's principle. Fighting was permitted only if based on honor, guiding her nation's rules. She contrasted this with the Dragon Empire's Sky Pact, which forbade fighting, explaining their nation measured strength without combat. Lloyd stood with Kanan behind him, realizing the importance of the moment, preparing for the upcoming challenge. Ryunea declared that in this place, Lloyd was the only one capable of taking decisive action. She raised her fan, signaling her authority, emphasizing that this moment could initiate something significant. Ryunea challenged Lloyd Fearless directly, announcing a contest between them, making the assembly aware of the imminent duel. Lloyd Fearless faced the princess in the Grand Hall. She stepped forward, challenging him to a duel. The princess scrutinized Lloyd's lineage, noticing he was not a blood relative, only an escort, questioning his authority. She revealed the Master and Servant Ring, a powerful artifact passed down through her imperial family, declaring her intentions, She planned to bind Lloyd as her minion once she defeated him, invoking the Sky Pact. Lloyd's position was now linked to her conditions, forcing him into a dangerous magical agreement he could not refuse. The princess led Lloyd fearless to the arena. Her expression was firm, signaling the serious duel ahead. Lloyd prepared himself, agreeing to fight with only a sword, focusing on skill rather than magic. He stood tense, aware of the weight of facing an imperial princess in front of witnesses. A mentor warned him the consequences were severe. Losing would make him a minion permanently. Lloyd nodded, resolute. He decided to fight with all his strength, refusing any regrets in the battle. Lloyd, fearless, prepared to transfer his energy. The princess and another ally silently encouraged him, watching with hope. He stepped into the arena. The massive structure loomed around him, filled with broken glass and echoes of past battles. Lloyd observed the surroundings. The arena resembled a place from his homeland, evoking memories and careful strategy planning. The princess reminded him that their duel remained invisible to outsiders, isolating the confrontation for safety. Before fighting began, she allowed Lloyd to speak. He requested clarification, preparing to act with focus and precision. The princess admitted she had acted prematurely, showing an unusual hint of humility in her expression. Lloyd observed her carefully, noticing subtle differences in demeanor that indicated deeper thought behind her confident front. She reflected on expectations, recognizing that Ryunea should rank highest, questioning the fairness of the outcome. Though the youngest, she wanted Lloyd and others to acknowledge her strength and determination as a princess. Lloyd considered the duel ahead. His strongest potential opponent was not from imperial families, but an escort of account. The princess reflected on leaving the Demon Empire, admitting that Lloyd had been the first to teach her about the wider world. She asked him to guide her forward, showing her a new world she had yet to experience. Lloyd entered the third illusion arena, preparing for another complex duel with careful attention. Observers noted Lloyd's immense abilities, acknowledging that as an instructor, they could only watch his unmatched skill. The princess and her allies resolved to watch closely, unable to intervene, as the next phase of the duel unfolded. The duel finally began as Lloyd entered the arena. Observers watched silently as tension filled the space. The princess activated a sudden attack, surprising the watchers with its power and speed. Lloyd faced the prison of time shrouded in crimson mist, prepared to counter the formidable crimson glare. The onlookers noted her attempt to dominate Lloyd with her evil eye, aiming to make him her minion. Aurelius unleashed a massive attack, intending to settle the confrontation with a single decisive strike against Lloyd. The princess acknowledged Lloyd fearless, admiring his courage for not fleeing the duel. Feeling reluctant to end it abruptly, she launched a powerful attack, but Lloyd leapt nimbly, avoiding the full force of her strike. Observers were stunned. Lloyd had dodged the evil eye without drawing his sword, gaining an advantageous position. His handling of the attack amazed onlookers, including fellow students and instructors, who quietly commented on his skill. The princess reflected internally. Though Aurelius was powerful, Lloyd's abilities were far greater than she initially imagined. The princess asked how Lloyd resisted the evil eye. He stood calmly, appearing almost unfathomable. Lloyd explained that even indirect effects of the evil eye should affect a person, questioning her assumptions. He revealed his method, allowing his body to move automatically, bypassing the eye's influence temporarily. Lloyd's guardian style, mindless repetition, activated. Even with his mind void, his heart controlled his movements precisely. The princess realized his strategy. He avoided the evil eye entirely by presetting magical instructions to act without free will. The princess wondered how Lloyd could anticipate her strategy. Surprised by his awareness of her plan, he moved decisively, avoiding her evil eye and the strength she directed, demonstrating unbreakable precision. She realized that for someone like him, respect could still be maintained even amid intense battle. Lloyd remained composed, showing that he could honor her dignity while fully engaging in the duel. The princess acknowledged defeat, admitting she had already lost, because he countered her evil eye flawlessly. The princess declared that it made no difference as long as she was the last one standing, facing Lloyd fearless. She recalled that he had opened the gate and entered her castle, giving her the chance to engage directly. Even the greatest calamities posed little threat to him. She realized her power alone might not be enough. With confidence, she boldly expressed her desire for Lloyd, showing determination to continue the duel without hesitation. Lloyd unleashed his twin blades, creating a flurry of crimson petals. Magic swirled violently around him. Ars Maria appeared, urging Lloyd to draw his sword fully. Her expression showed determination and readiness. Lloyd analyzed the magical flow. Guardian-style tracks allowed him to follow every trace precisely. He anticipated Ars Maria's attack from her right hand, timing his movements to counter swiftly. With a leap, Lloyd executed Mayfly, his guardian wings dispersing into the sky, evading danger perfectly. Lloyd leapt, planning to exploit Aurelius's magic drain. He calculated her attack from the left carefully. He formed a ring of protection, shielding himself as shards of magic threatened to strike. Lloyd observed Aurelius's technique. Her mana formed crystalline patterns in the air, revealing her strategy. The magic couldn't penetrate his barrier. Lloyd's preparation nullified her fang's deadly reach effectively. Aurelius's crystal flowers floated in the air, absorbing mana, while her spell demonstrated precise, deadly control. A new observer watched Lloyd carefully. She noticed he hadn't deployed a mana barrier, yet his presence was strong. Lloyd hovered among Aurelius's crystal flowers. He could sense the flow of mana where they bloomed. Aurelius launched herself, exploiting the opening Lloyd created. He remained poised, despite the unexpected attack. Her fangs aimed for him, but Lloyd's reflexes and guardian skills neutralized the threat instantly. Lloyd held Aurelius close, stabilizing her. Their eyes met as tension and unspoken understanding passed between them. Lloyd carried Aurelius mid-air, passing through the scattered crystal flowers silently, both catching their breath. Aurelius looked at Lloyd with mixed surprise and embarrassment. He silently acknowledged her presence respectfully. She questioned Lloyd, asking why he hadn't drawn his sword. Lloyd maintained his calm composure. Lloyd explained that her expression had been hopeless, showing he understood her feelings without words. Aurelius' face reflected introspection. Their tense encounter softened, revealing vulnerability and trust between the two combatants. A mysterious princess stood before Lloyd. Her calm gaze challenged him, questioning his strength silently. She reflected on her own fear, realizing she must confront Lloyd and her past courageously. Aurelius wondered if she would feel fear if Lloyd drew his sword, testing her own resolve. Lloyd observed her closely. Despite differences from past memories, Aurelius held his attention completely. He faced her directly, determined to engage the girl before him, fully acknowledging both trust and tension. Aurelius acknowledged Lloyd's strength, surprised he surpassed her expectations, despite the intense battle. She recognized him as the one giving her hope, motivating her to continue, without giving up. Lloyd noticed the thick mist surrounding them, hiding Aurelius's movements, but couldn't ignore her presence. Aurelius declared herself the first princess of the Grand Shark dynasty, standing firmly at her own risk. Lloyd reflected on her seriousness and commitment, realizing Aurelius treated him as a knight, respecting his role. Lloyd declared his resolve. For his pride as a knight, he would answer Aurelius' challenge with full strength. He swore on his sword to confront Aurelius, using every ounce of his power, leaping toward her decisively. Aurelius received her mother's solemn words, reminded that she carried the Grand Shark family's future on her shoulders. She responded with bright determination, promising to uphold her family's honor and responsibilities without hesitation. Later, Aurelius hesitated before greeting Elysial, feeling shy and cautious as she approached the distant, quiet girl. Memories of her own age and curiosity drove Aurelius forward, eager to reconnect and experience friendship once more. Her mother warned her firmly, emphasizing duty and the importance of never yielding to the holy princess, guiding Aurelius's resolve. Aurelius realized her life's purpose, accepting the responsibility laid upon her shoulders. She resolved to surpass everyone in skill, strength, and knowledge, dedicating herself to constant improvement. Determined, she acknowledged she could not lose and must embody the ideal of the demon princess. Her ambition expanded further, declaring she must rule over everything and control her destiny without compromise. Aurelius stepped forward firmly, leaving childhood behind, rejecting leniency, and committing fully to her path as a powerful ruler. Aurelius reflected on her journey, realizing all her effort had finally brought her closer to equality. Despite her hard work, she noticed that both Elysial and Ryunea did not acknowledge her as a rival. She felt the disappointment of being unseen, yet her determination did not waver. Aurelius understood that their only commonality was their status as princesses of their countries. Above all of them stood the one who ranked higher, guiding Aurelius toward new ambitions and challenges. Aurelius learned that the escort she admired came from the Sky Empire, a noble family once pivotal in peace. She read about the emperor who created the Armistice Barrier, a figure erased from history yet legendary. Curiosity about the emperor and his deeds fueled Aurelius's desire to understand strength and leadership. She clenched her fist, determined that her power must be proven through battle as a true representative of the demon empire. Aurelius vowed that if she could defeat and be acknowledged by the strongest, she would cement her place in history. Aurelius was stunned to learn the one who ranked above her came from the distant Sky Empire. an unassuming escort by origin. She pondered the history of the Sky Empire, a country that ended every war guided by a mysterious emperor. Clenching her fist, she resolved that strength alone should decide recognition, and she would not back down. Aurelius vowed to defeat and be acknowledged by him, cementing her place as a powerful figure. She discovered an unusual magical ability, capable of drawing mana from illusions, a skill few could wield. The Sky Empire warrior noticed Aurelius's illusions, a magic unlike the controlling eyes he had faced before. He realized the illusions disoriented him, creating multiple copies of Aurelius, making it impossible to track her movements. Aurelius manipulated the illusions, ensuring that his sword could not reach her as she controlled the battlefield with precision. The warrior acknowledged her skill, feeling gratitude for the challenge that pushed him to adapt and improve. Aurelius smiled confidently, knowing that each battle strengthened her, allowing her to become even stronger than before. The Sky Empire warrior realized Aurelius's illusions filled the battlefield, making it impossible to locate her true body. Aurelius taunted him closely, testing his perception and exploiting every opening in his awareness. He executed a new technique, Voidbreaker, aiming to cut through the void and reach her. Shattered mirrors revealed her location partially, and he began to understand her illusions and adapt. Aurelius grinned fiercely, confident that each challenge made her stronger, mastering both strategy and her magical power. The Sky Empire warrior noticed Aurelius had activated her other magic eye, amplifying the power of her illusions. She trapped him within the Crimson Mist, creating a time-wrapped zone that neutralized his previous tactics and forced him to adapt. Aurelius used her Crimson Glare, closing in with overwhelming presence, combining both her magic eyes to dominate the battlefield and assert her absolute control. Lloyd fell through shattered floors, surrounded by floating shards, as a mysterious force moved around him. Arsmeria appeared, fan in hand, poised gracefully. Her gaze fixed on Lloyd, piercing through the chaos. She seemed to challenge him, questioning whether he could survive such overwhelming circumstances. Lloyd steadied himself, recalling his vow. He knew he must become stronger than any mage from all 7 empires, preparing for the trials ahead. Arsmeria encouraged Lloyd to embrace his destiny as the Sky Emperor's shield, promising he could always rise above. Together they stood beneath a vast sky, combining transparent mana. Lloyd and Arsmeria prepared to change the world, united in purpose. Lloyd clenched his fist, recalling his promise to become stronger than anyone, determination burning deep inside him. He charged forward without hesitation, refusing to let anyone block his path toward achieving his lord's dream. The enemy prepared a spell, but Lloyd's presence mirrored their movements, forcing them to adjust unexpectedly, caught off guard. Arsmeria noticed the copied techniques, realizing Lloyd had replicated her magic while fighting, enhancing his combat ability silently. Using the second Guardian style, Shadow Armor, Lloyd's attack reflected like a knight, surprising everyone and asserting dominance. Inside the Crimson Mist, Arsmeria navigated endless shadows, her movements swift as the darkness shifted continuously around her. She unleashed the bloody illusion, multiplying her presence to confuse enemies, each figure mirroring her attacks and stance. Lloyd watched, astonished, as Arsmeria's skill surpassed expectations, pushing him to strive harder to keep up with her power. Arsmeria's floating leaf technique glided elegantly through the battlefield, allowing precise strikes and effortless maneuvering around Lloyd's defenses. Determined, she proclaimed her presence loudly, asserting herself fully as a warrior ready to match Lloyd's strength. Arsmeria stood proudly, declaring herself the demon princess, her presence radiating power and confidence across the battlefield. Lloyd and his allies observed from below, the scale of her power casting a massive shadow over the horizon. Aurelius and the others realized her mana would soon deplete, but she maintained control, her strength undeniable despite the looming exhaustion. Arsmeria's determination remained unbroken, her fangs symbolizing unyielding spirit, promising to continue fighting until the battle concluded. Witnessing her might, the onlookers recognized Lloyd's unwavering support, feeling admiration for his brotherly presence guiding Arsmeria's unstoppable rise. Lloyd and Arsmeria moved together seamlessly, their battle flowing like a dance, perfectly synchronized against all obstacles. Lloyd refused to yield, determined to keep pace, even as Arsmeria consumed vast amounts of mana for her attacks. Arsmeria's power continued to grow during the fight, her skills becoming more dangerous and precise with every movement. She tested Lloyd's defense, challenging him while attempting to drain his focus, pushing both to their limits in combat. Lloyd's resolve remained unshaken, countering her every move, proving that her efforts alone could not surpass his determination. Arsmeria balanced atop Lloyd, declaring she could dance longer, her agility and strength unmatched. Pushing the fight forward, she summoned the Blood Prison, trapping Lloyd in an illusionary cage, limiting his movements while testing his resolve. Arsmeria asserted control over the battlefield, reminding Lloyd that within her domain, escape was impossible, compelling him to face her power. She challenged Lloyd directly, explaining that to seal her movement, he must fight without fear, proving his strength without limits. Her strategy aimed to steal Lloyd's mana, demonstrating her skill and dominance while driving him to adapt under pressure. Arsmeria invoked her fan technique, Bind Him, ensnaring Lloyd with constricting energy that limited his movements immediately. Lloyd felt the bindings tighten, struggling to counter the contraction, testing both his agility and his focus, under pressure. Arsmeria revealed her Fang, a powerful attack, targeting Lloyd fearlessly as she unleashed a concentrated burst of magical force. Lloyd stood firm, summoning his powerful spell Fang, striking the battlefield with fearless precision. Flames erupted around him, creating a blazing shield against the enemy's onslaught. Princess Arsmeria watched in awe as Lloyd maneuvered effortlessly, drawing an intricate magic circle while dodging relentless attacks, demonstrating mastery beyond expectation. Lloyd revealed the secret. The magic was a sophisticated barrier art. Even his enemies recognized the impossible control he wielded, leaving them momentarily stunned. Arsmeria reflected on her hopes. She wished to see a world without conflict, where her magic could act as a deterrent rather than a weapon. Through training and observation, Lloyd mastered the magic perfectly, understanding how to use it responsibly and imagining a future where power and peace coexisted. Lloyd and Arsmeria sat side by side, cloaked in silence, reflecting on past failures and missed opportunities. Lloyd clenched his fist, recalling thousands of years of training, determined to master the magic that once left him powerless. He unleashed the fourth technique, Colorless, a dazzling beam that stretched endlessly into the sky, a display of control and precision perfected over time. Arsmeria watched, astonished, as the rare barrier art manifested flawlessly, a secret magic known only to the bloodlines of empires. Lloyd stood ready, finally able to protect and meet Arsmeria again, bridging past regrets with newfound strength. Lloyd faced the determined opponent, her expression fierce, acknowledging his strength while refusing to hold back. He explained that every strike and spell was measured, meant to challenge her, requiring him to use his full skill to gauge her power. The battle escalated, petals and debris scattering, each movement precise and calculated, showcasing their intense rivalry and mutual respect. She surged forward with renewed resolve, determined to fight until the very end, her determination shining through every attack. Finally, they locked eyes and embraced briefly, a silent acknowledgement of their strength, trust, and the bond forged through combat. The battle concluded, and Lloyd's opponent acknowledged his victory, petals swirling around them as they embraced. She smiled with relief, the tension of the fight giving way to mutual respect and understanding. Lloyd felt the teleportation magic activate, echoing the same sensations as the first time he had used it, anticipation and focus blending. Arsmeria sensed their shared fate, realizing that their paths were intertwined, destiny guiding them to this critical moment. Lloyd arrived at the magic circle, greeted by his sister and allies, his journey and mastery of powerful spells finally culminating in reunion. Lloyd noticed a familiar voice from earlier, catching him off guard among his allies and Arsmeria. Aurelius appeared, smiling gently, reflecting on how their fight had created an unexpected sense of connection despite the intensity. Lloyd realized that the voice from earlier was indeed Aurelius herself, confirming his suspicions and deepening his understanding of her. Aurelius asked him to respond, doubting whether someone like her deserved attention, seeking acknowledgement from Lloyd. She reminded him of the illusion fight rules. The winner can demand one thing from the loser, granting her authority and influence. Aurelius bowed deeply, acknowledging her defeat, offering herself to Lloyd in accordance with the illusion fight rules. She requested to study in the same class as him, hoping to learn and grow alongside Lloyd in the future. She expressed her desire to build peaceful relationships with others, polishing their magical abilities together and fostering camaraderie. Lloyd smiled warmly, explaining that if granted her request, he wanted her to see him as a peer and classmate. Though she initially hesitated, Aurelius accepted, realizing this was her own wish and a chance to forge a new beginning with Lloyd. Aurelius addressed Lloyd with deep respect, calling him the Imperial Demon Princess Lloyd Fearless. Acknowledging his skill and honor, she hesitated, requesting him to allow her to continue using honorifics, maintaining the formality until the day she could defeat him. Lloyd smiled, understanding her wish, knowing it symbolized her pride, determination, and the friendly rivalry between them. Their classmates reacted with amusement, teasing Aurelius while acknowledging the playful dynamics between her and Lloyd. Aurelius protested the teasing, but her expression softened, realizing this bond and interaction were part of her growth and camaraderie with Lloyd. From above, a figure observed Lloyd and his classmates, analyzing their actions with a keen, serious gaze. The observer acknowledged Lloyd's dedication, noting his unwavering focus and commitment during the events that unfolded below. With a subtle smile, she addressed him personally as Lloyd-chan, recognizing his growing skills, resilience, and the respect he had earned from those around him. At the Magic World University, Lloyd Fearless observed a training duel from the observation tower. Shards of crystal and sparks flew as students practiced, but his gaze remained sharp and calculating. Lloyd's exceptional abilities were confirmed. He achieved an A in the mana test, recognized for his abnormal skill and unmatched potential. His reputation began to grow among peers. He demonstrated the barrier art, a technique of immense power that surpassed ordinary magical defenses, leaving everyone in awe. The barrier art was unique, incomparable, even to ancient forms created 1,000 years ago, accessible only to true magicians. Even with this tremendous power, Lloyd maintained his calm, analyzing every situation while preparing for the challenges that awaited him. Lloyd's humility impressed observers. He treated everyone equally, even while displaying extraordinary magical abilities during academy training sessions. The researcher studied the complex web of connections, tracing events and noting patterns tied to the Silver Guard Knight. Vance was recognized as the strongest shield knight, protecting the Empress from countless threats with unmatched skill and courage. Despite his accomplishments, no official records existed, as Vance intentionally avoided claiming credit for heroic deeds or recognition. Inspired by Vance's legacy, the observer longed to meet someone capable of changing the world with strength and wisdom. The observer continued researching Vance and the barrier art, eager to understand the full extent of his powers. Lloyd's potential became apparent. He possessed the abilities she desired, capable of changing outcomes with strength and precision. Suddenly, Lloyd appeared before her, materializing with quiet authority, signaling that he had answered her summons. She approached him closely, expressing determination to prevent him from becoming merely a pawn for any imperial princess. A darker, more intense presence emerged, challenging Lloyd's resolve and forcing him to confront a desire he hadn't faced. The intense presence of the mysterious figure pressed against Lloyd, overwhelming him with conflicting feelings and challenging his resolve. Outside, the Magic Academy appeared, peaceful, contrasting with the tension inside, where hidden desires and ambitions quietly stirred. Lloyd hesitated, unsure of the path ahead, while considering the extraordinary powers he might attain if he succeeded. Despite exhaustion from previous battles, Lloyd insisted on continuing, showing resilience and unwavering commitment to his allies and goals. His growing reputation attracted attention, and peers admired him, both for his strength and for his ability to inspire. Despite being alone, the character expressed frustration, struggling to manage emotions while Lloyd remained calm and observant nearby. Lloyd's leadership qualities were evident. Others admired him, believing he was perfect for guiding the academy confidently and fairly. He acknowledged recognition from peers humbly, feeling honored to be respected after demonstrating skill and determination in duels. A close ally asked him not to forget her, showing trust and a strong emotional bond forming between them. Suddenly, Lloyd resisted external pressure, asserting independence while others watched, signaling that he would not be influenced easily. Lloyd was surprised as Suseri Denka appeared, noticing them lingering in the hallway after their recent activities in the academy. Kenan explained she had prepared a snack, wanting to eat before returning, showing care and thoughtfulness. Suseri observed the cooking, curious about the sweets Kenan made, impressed by her skill and personal hobbies. The group praised Kenan for both her intelligence and diligence, recognizing her abilities while she modestly deflected compliments. Kenan cheerfully asked Lloyd for assistance with studies and magic, demonstrating sibling closeness and mutual support. Suseri Denka noticed Kenan's pride in her brother, smiling warmly and acknowledging the bond between siblings. Suseri Denka complimented Lloyd for his duel performance, recognizing his strength and skill, bringing respect and admiration from the group. Lloyd felt joy, appreciating the shared workspace and camaraderie with peers, fostering confidence and belonging. Suseri admitted her doubts about matching expectations, showing humility while Lloyd reassured her of her competence and effort. Suseri approached Lloyd with a request, entrusting him with a responsibility as president, highlighting their mutual respect and cooperation. The guards outside waited patiently as the group prepared to depart, signaling the start of an important journey. Suseri Denka instructed Lloyd and Kenan to accompany her, representing the princesses, emphasizing responsibility and trust in their guidance. She planned to visit the imperial Oni Princess Hiyori, focusing on diplomacy and strategic interaction with other nobles. Lloyd, Uraha, and Rian arrived at the massive dorms of the Oni Empire, preparing to explore the magical facility. They were formally greeted as emissaries, with Suseri Denka requesting a meeting with Oni Princess Hiyori. The guards pushed open the enormous doors, revealing the intricate halls inside, and the group stepped cautiously into the unknown. As Lloyd walked forward, he felt a faint chill, sensing the presence of someone else's mana nearby. Outside, a trembling princess sneezed from the cold, prompting Lloyd and his companions to offer quiet concern and guidance. Suseri Denka walked ahead with Lloyd and the others. Reflecting on her long-standing connection with Oni Princess Hiyori, she remembered how she and Hiyori became friends during early diplomatic meetings, finding companionship in each other despite strict adult supervision. Uraha explained how Hiyori, once a tomboy, had her moods improved when she attended college, aided by Suseri Denka's guidance. Lloyd agreed, silently concerned for Hiyori's well-being, aware that her sense of confinement weighed heavily on her. Hiyori recalled being a lonely figure, and the knowledge that someone remembered and cared for her felt almost miraculous. Lloyd observed Hiyori from a distance, considering her possible feelings of solitude and the emotional weight she carried. Hiyori expressed gratitude toward Lloyd and Suseri Denka, appreciating their effort to visit her despite the challenges. The group walked carefully through the forest discussing Hiyori's health and how a meeting might be beneficial for her. Guards insisted that entry was restricted, but Lloyd and the companions continued, aware of Hiyori Denka's approval of Suseri Denka's visit. Suddenly, a guard blocked the path, declaring firmly that Hiyori-sama could not meet anyone, forcing the group to reconsider their approach. Rakusha stood firm, radiating intense hostility, while the guards observed the group approaching Hiyori-sama. A figure reminded Rakusha that Hiyori-sama had accepted the visitors, challenging his decision to block the gate. Suseri Denka and the companions paused respectfully, waiting for permission to proceed while maintaining proper protocol. Rakusha's anger flared, but Hiyori-sama calmly intervened, instructing him to listen before opening the gate. Uraha stepped forward to protect Suseri Denka, ensuring Lloyd and the group could safely continue without provoking Rakusha's hostility. Uraha acknowledged the Oni Empire's rules, stating they would not interfere unless necessary. Rakusha stood before the gate, prepared to act, while observers decided to watch the situation unfold. Hiyori-sama realized the confrontation could no longer be ignored and decided to intervene directly. Rakusha and Hiyori-sama engaged in a serious battle, their powers clashing intensely as Lloyd watched carefully. Lloyd noted the seriousness of the fight, determined to protect Suseri Denka's careful intentions and ensure no harm came to anyone. Hiyori-sama and Rakusha unleashed powerful attacks, combining techniques like Oni Shadow Art, Thunder, and Helix Wheel. The Lost Traveler observed quietly from above, using the second Guardian style, assessing the battle carefully. Lloyd saw a brief opportunity, attempting to insert himself between the combatants to prevent excessive damage. Using the first Guardian technique, Lloyd maneuvered skillfully, floating and dodging as Hiyori-sama and Rakusha continued their clash. Lloyd focused on copying their mana to neutralize their skills, aiming to dispel their powers and end the fight safely. Lloyd confronted the ongoing battle, questioning how Rakusha managed to appear and stop their combined skills. Rakusha was surprised by Lloyd's intervention and demanded to know why he got in the way. Lloyd realized Rakusha found it suspicious that a Sky Empire guard had appeared unexpectedly, questioning his presence. Uraha clarified Lloyd's authority, explaining that he was the chairman and had witnessed critical events, others had not. Rakusha acknowledged Lloyd's strength, noting that the princesses recognized and respected his capabilities, understanding the weight of his presence. Rakusha realized Hiyori-sama did not acknowledge Lloyd, which changed his perspective on the situation. Lloyd and Uraha quietly observed, understanding the implications of Rakusha's insight. Rakusha identified Lloyd as someone reminiscent of a figure he had recognized, connecting the dots. Lloyd's presence was acknowledged as authoritative, standing firm despite his personal feelings or the tension around him. Rakusha decided he must intervene to prevent Suseri Denka from meeting the Oni princess without confrontation. The two guardians faced each other, both protecting their responsibilities while preparing for a potential clash over Hiyori-sama. Lloyd moved quickly, confronting an enemy that threatened the safety of Hiyori-sama. His strikes were precise, demonstrating the strength he had honed as a guardian knight. The chairman considered Hiyori-sama's happiness, hoping she could enjoy school life without unnecessary danger. He planned to ask her wishes directly to ensure her freedom. Lloyd challenged the opposing forces, questioning whether Hiyori-sama should endure conflict when her life at school could be peaceful and shared with others. The enemy argued that the princess's disputes were pointless. Lloyd observed carefully, noting that Hiyori-sama's presence was the only constant needed. Using a sudden burst of speed and magic, Lloyd intercepted the attackers. He ensured Hiyori-sama could continue her school life safely, free from unnecessary struggles. Lloyd approached the battlefield cautiously. He sensed that the enemy understood the effect of his sword, not just his strength. Hiyori-sama noticed the expanding battlefield covered with Lloyd's slashes. She realized the fight's duration was extending with every attack he made. The chairman struggled to maintain his footing, aware that unless he acted, Lloyd's relentless assault would overwhelm the area. Lloyd made a decisive move, insisting that Hiyori-sama could follow her lessons safely without getting involved in the conflict surrounding her. He unleashed his signature technique, 7 arc, striking with lightning speed and precision to secure Hiyori-sama's safety. Lloyd prepared to face Lloyd's opponent head-on. He understood that the first strike of 7 arc was the strongest. He raised a protective barrier, the ring of protection, aiming to halt the oncoming attacks before they could overwhelm him struggling. He realized he could not keep blocking such powerful blows indefinitely. He needed a strategy to end the battle efficiently. Lloyd countered with precise movements balancing offense and defense, aware that the class issue could not be solved by mere strength. He reflected that even after 1,000 years, the continent's conflicts would end, only if people genuinely wished for peace. Lloyd moved forward, determined that the world could change if people believed in it. He focused on protecting Hiyori-sama's school life. He blocked an incoming strike with all his strength, committing to ending the battle before the enemy completed his 6 attacks. The chairman acknowledged the shared feelings of Hiyori-sama and the princesses, understanding their importance in resolving the conflict. Lloyd closed the distance, preparing to face his opponent directly and deliver a decisive blow. The enemy's final slash struck him, but Lloyd held firm, proving his resolve to protect both the school and everyone's feelings. Lloyd used his second guardian style, shadow armor, creating an illusion to mirror his movements. He and the enemy acknowledged their shared role as protectors. He understood that protection did not mean confinement. Their duty was to safeguard Hiyori-sama's life without limiting her freedom. Lloyd resolved to protect the princesses in the world they wished to see, honoring their desires and choices. He questioned the enemy about the world Hiyori-sama truly wanted, focusing on her perspective above all else. Hiyori-sama expressed her wish to meet everyone and experience life freely, demonstrating why Lloyd's protection was necessary for her happiness. The enemy reflected on his actions, realizing he had begun to act like the others he criticized, questioning himself. Lloyd committed to making the class a safe place, relying on Sartori Denka and the other allies to support him. He extended an offer of cooperation to the enemy, emphasizing that they could all contribute to Hiyori-sama's protection. Susiri Denka pleaded for the enemy to accept, appealing to his role as Hiyori-sama's friend. The enemy revealed his true intention, to let Sartori Denka and Hiyori-sama meet freely, acknowledging past grudges, but prioritizing their safety. The enemy bowed, apologizing for his rudeness toward one of Hiyori-sama's friends, acknowledging his mistakes. He admitted that responsibilities fell on Niu, showing respect for her role in protecting Hiyori-sama. Lloyd felt relieved as Hiyori-sama's orders ensured that visitors would be allowed entry without conflict. He thanked Niu Sono for complying with the orders, despite her own concerns, appreciating her loyalty. The enemy also apologized for attacking Lloyd, and Lloyd reassured him, understanding the risk he felt for the princess's fragile health. The group waited patiently for Hiyori-sama to awaken, showing understanding and respect for her rest. Niu and the others prepared to guide the visitors, signaling their readiness to take action. The group formally began escorting the visitors, ensuring a smooth and respectful entry toward Hiyori-sama. They arrived at Hiyori-sama's room, facing the princess peacefully resting, signaling the end of the conflict and the safe reunion with her. Lloyd and the group walked along the cold corridor, sensing the intensifying effect of Hiyori Denka's mana. They reached the entrance of a quiet chamber, the air tense, as Susiri stepped forward, motioning them inside. Hiyori stirred from her rest, rubbing her eyes, gradually recognizing Susiri and the familiar group before her. The girls exchanged cautious smiles, noting each other's growth since their last meeting, hearts quietly reconnecting. Lloyd observed silently, realizing their reunion marked the beginning of a renewed journey with allies and classmates. Hiyori greeted Lloyd and the group, noting the clear flow of his uncolored mana. Lloyd knelt, introducing himself as the chairman, startled that Hiyori could sense uncolored mana. Susiri agreed to a private discussion with Lloyd, stepping aside to let the two converse. Kanan and the others left the room, giving Lloyd and Susiri a quiet space for discussion. Susiri leaned close to Lloyd, teasing him that even alone he could do anything unusual. Lloyd noticed Hiyori coughing slightly. She reassured him, hiding her condition while maintaining calm composure quietly. Hiyori worried her condition might concern Susiri, asking Lloyd to keep her symptoms confidential from others nearby. Lloyd realized Hiyori's cough wasn't disease-related, understanding her subtle warning and the importance of controlling her mana leakage. Hiyori recalled Arsmaria's similar past suffering, mana leakages intensified by the cold, and Lloyd observed the ominous energy flow. Lloyd explained Hiyori's mana overflow, acknowledging her immense power, while she quietly recognized the dangerous intensity within herself. Hiyori controlled her overflowing mana, realizing attending school could disrupt others. Despite her determination to join classes, Lloyd acknowledged her wish, encouraging Hiyori Denka to follow her heart while considering safe ways for participation. Hiyori reflected on her confinement, feeling Lloyd understood her situation better than anyone else present at that moment. Lloyd asked Hiyori to extend her hand across the blindfold, offering assistance while respecting her careful boundaries. Hiyori assured him, showing readiness and appreciation for Lloyd's help, while maintaining concern for potential inconvenience. Hiyori silently extended her hand, showing trust while expressing concern, gently asking Lloyd not to overexert himself. Hiyori pleaded with Lloyd, emphasizing her condition and subtly warning him about the consequences of forcing himself. Lloyd reflected on their first encounter, realizing Hiyori's hope rested on his success and careful guidance. Lloyd resolved to catalyze Hiyori's mana, preventing dangerous leakage, while balancing the flow for her safety. The two connected hands, energy flowing, as Lloyd felt the overwhelming mana surge, preparing to stabilize her power. Lloyd struggled against Hiyori's overwhelming cold mana, astonished at the magnitude of power she endured. Silently, Hiyori focused, urging Lloyd to maintain concentration and the mana flow, ensuring the delicate balance wasn't lost. Kanon, Susiri, and the others sensed Hiyori's shifted mana, noticing the warmth and stability emanating from her. Lloyd connected with Hiyori, forming a stabilizing bond that allowed her mana to flow safely, restoring equilibrium. Hiyori's mana stabilized, flowing calmly. Lloyd explained he absorbed excess mana, ready to assist if imbalance returned. Hiyori felt reassured, realizing she could go out safely. Lloyd guided her with confidence and care throughout. Hiyori smiled warmly, thanking Lloyd for his support, expressing gratitude for his careful guidance and protective presence. Lloyd walked through the crowded academy hall, keeping close to Kanon. Despite the smaller crowd than during the exams, he remained alert. Kanon held tightly to Lloyd's arm, worried about getting separated. She relied on him to guide her safely through the crowd. Aurelis appeared before them, dressed elegantly. Lloyd and Kanon were surprised by her transformation, and Aurelis smiled, showing confidence in her new appearance. Alicial observed Aurelis's excitement with slight embarrassment. She reminded her friend that adults should remain composed, yet Aurelis remained cheerful. Aurelis reluctantly acknowledged her responsibilities. Elysial urged her to rest for the imperial representative speech, emphasizing that staying up late would not benefit her growth. Elysial appeared pensive, holding a finger to her lips, carefully considering the upcoming events and her proper responsibilities at the academy. Aurelis, relaxed, yet elegant, congratulated Rionea on her recent duel victory, showing maturity while maintaining composure in front of others. Lloyd and Kanon arrived, alert and cautious, prepared to hear important news about recent battles, potentially unfavorable to their allies. Hiyori and Susiri joined the group, standing confidently, their presence signaling the seriousness and importance of the Imperial Academy gathering. Lloyd's visit had strengthened Hiyori's performance, showing that his guidance positively influenced the princesses, improving their confidence and strategic abilities overall. Hiyori approached Lloyd and Kanon excitedly, surprised by their attendance. Aurelis blushed nervously, reacting to the unexpected gathering with curiosity. Lloyd encouraged everyone to enjoy the buffet. Aurelis and Rionea eagerly tried dishes from the Beast Empire's abundant selections. Susiri asked politely to explore the venue alone, smiling gently, signaling her independence while remaining aware of her surroundings. Hiyori offered to accompany Susiri despite the commotion. Susiri insisted Raksha was watching, assuring her safety while staying alone briefly. Susiri apologized for causing concern. Hiyori reassured her, demonstrating mutual care and support between the princesses at the gathering. Lloyd encountered Lord Neo, who requested informality between them. Both served as bodyguards, seeking straightforward discussion, without unnecessary honorifics. Neo wished to talk about Hiyori, asking Lloyd if a private conversation could occur away from the crowd. Kanon observed, concerned but understanding, while Lloyd agreed to step aside. The commotion made open discussion inconvenient, requiring privacy. Nayu expressed gratitude, explaining Hiyori's magical abilities had significantly stabilized thanks to Lloyd's intervention during previous events. Lloyd humbly acknowledged the progress, questioning whether the improvement was solely Hiyori's magic power or influenced by other factors. Lloyd reflected on channeling Hiyori's magic, sensing her natural kindness crushed under overwhelming cold power from external sources. He confronted Nayu, seeking insight, hoping the experienced bodyguard could explain the unusual effects on Hiyori's magical abilities. Nayu explained limitations, revealing confidential details about the Oni Empire's strategies, emphasizing some struggles could not be openly discussed. Susiri observed Hiyori's cautious nature, noting her tendency to build walls while still longing for personal experiences and meaningful connections. Niu regretted not sending Lloyd away earlier, reflecting on past decisions while contemplating the best way to protect Hiyori. Niu expressed uncertainty, struggling with his role and decisions. He felt powerless, unsure how to act effectively moving forward. Susiri stood quietly, her expression serious, determined to maintain composure and continue smiling despite the burdens weighing on her. She apologized to Susiri for distancing herself again, recognizing the emotional gap created by her own caution and responsibilities. Lloyd and the other princesses continued interacting cheerfully. Despite lively surroundings, Susiri felt detached, observing from a quiet distance. Susiri realized that even stepping outside or participating wouldn't change her situation. She clenched her fists, accepting reality silently. Susiri admitted partial control over her powers, but remained cautious. Hiyori appeared beside her, asking gently if she was okay. Susiri, startled, acknowledged Hiyori's presence. Hiyori noticed her nervous reaction, questioning whether the crowd had overwhelmed her unexpectedly during the event. Another character approached, challenging their identities. Susiri and Hiyori exchanged glances, uncertain, as the newcomer demanded to know who they were. Susiri reflected on wanting solitude, yet Hiyori insisted a knight would always protect her. Lloyd's presence was implied reassurance. Lloyd detected a sudden surge of strong magic. Both noticed its brief intensification, then disappearance, signaling a powerful unknown force nearby. Hiyori went missing, prompting alarm. Lloyd and Nayu, sensing urgency, prepared to search quickly, moving through the crowded academy. Hiyori's absence caused panic among the group. Princesses and knights rallied together, fearing for her safety, demanding immediate action. Lloyd and his companions gathered on the school grounds. Raksha expressed concern after losing sight of Princess Hiyori. Lloyd analyzed Princess Hiyori's mana, determining he could trace the residual energy she left behind. He planned to inform Kanon once he located her. He rushed forward urgently. Raksha asked for protection of her little sister until Lloyd returned, emphasizing the importance of the mission. The group arrived at the abandoned old research lab. Lloyd noted the teleportation coordinates had shifted earlier. Lloyd sensed Hiyori's mana, now intertwined with another, stronger presence. He braced himself for the unknown force ahead. Lloyd and Kanon found Princess Hiyori, her body surrounded by sharp icy spikes. They were shocked by her appearance. Lloyd identified the source of her suffering as the ogre god Isesno Yaksha, whose energy radiated dangerously. Neo recognized the ogre god immediately, recalling encounters from the past. The air around them vibrated with tension. Nio launched an attack toward the ogre god. Lloyd tried to intervene while memories resurfaced, revealing past conflicts. Princess Hiyori's expression shifted as her suppressed feelings surfaced. She admitted that initially, she hated the person now protecting her. Princess Hiyori reflected on her past, remembering how she had been loved by many and given anything she desired. She realized the truth of her confinement. Despite appearances, she was not allowed to go outside. Hiyori understood that she was actually alone, lacking true freedom or possessions, hidden from the world. This revelation sparked her desire to give something meaningful to someone else, sharing what she could. Lloyd observed her thoughtful expression, recognizing her intent, feeling conflicted yet moved by her determination to act. Lloyd discovered that the ogre god resided within Princess Hiyori. Her life was the key to sealing the calamity threatening the country. He reflected on Hiyori's choices, understanding why she avoided attachment and possessions, protecting herself from future pain. Despite this, Lloyd stayed by her side, learning to understand her decisions and valuing their shared time together. He realized the most painful aspect for Hiyori was losing control of her power and unintentionally harming others. Kanon observed Hiyori improving, now able to control her powers and form genuine friendships, even expressing herself more freely. Lloyd reflected on his knowledge of the situation, realizing he understood everything but struggled to act in time. He remembered his promise to protect Princess Hiyori, feeling the weight of his failure as her life hung in danger. Tears streamed down Lloyd's face as he implored others to save Hiyori, desperate to prevent the calamity. Kanon prepared to intervene, asking Lloyd to care for Nio, while she approached Hiyori directly. Kanon charged at the ogre god's icy form, calling for Hiyori to respond and attempting to break through the deadly threat. Kanon called out to Hiyori, urging her to respond if she could hear her voice, trying to reach her mind. Kanon confronted Hiyori, realizing the ogre god's influence, and sensing the true identity behind the human empire's princess. The ogre god mocked the group, pointing out that their efforts failed to reveal Hiyori's genuine feelings, criticizing their approach. Princess Suseri attacked the ogre god, jumping forcefully to strike and attempt to protect Hiyori from harm. Lloyd reflected painfully on his inability to be Hiyori's friend before, regretting that someone like him failed to reach her. Lloyd tried basic first aid magic on the injured, but the ogre god's icy influence made it almost useless. He realized the true threat came from the yaksha nesting in the heart, penetrating beyond physical bodies. The ogre god's power grew, freezing both minds and bodies, pushing the group to their limits as it advanced. Lloyd considered the strength of bonds around him, Hiyori's courage, Nao's feelings, and Suseri's determination in the fight. He resolved to stop the ogre god, refusing to let anyone be harmed while charging to confront the threat. The ogre god formed a circular shield, warning that protecting too much would weaken the group's ability to fight back. The group struggled against the icy skeletal force as it threatened to overwhelm them, its attacks relentless. Lloyd unleashed his magic, creating Phrygius to counter the ogre god, using his power strategically against the deadly foe. He questioned the actions of his companion, noticing behavior that seemed uncharacteristic, trying to understand their intentions. Another ally, responding decisively, stepped forward with resolve, ready to confront the enemy while Lloyd prepared for coordinated action. Lloyd noticed chaos at the academy and followed Sir Gild through the grand hall. The scene shocked him. Sir Gild declared he would not allow anyone to freeze, preparing his powerful flames to fight the threat. The enemy revealed itself as an ogre god from the demon empire. Sir Gild called upon its power. Sir Gild commanded Lloyd to burn the creature to cinders, leaving no room for hesitation or delay. Lloyd realized the ogre princess was inside the monster, requiring precise attacks to protect her life. Sir Gild summoned the ogre god, preparing to confront the massive enemy with full resolve. He commanded chains to emerge, binding the creature tightly and restricting its dangerous movements. Lloyd saw the opportunity as Sir Gild sealed the monster's mobility, readying the next step. He copied Sir Gild's magic, synchronizing their powers to strike simultaneously and maximize their attack. The ogre god's head was destroyed, leaving the enemy neutralized, and Lloyd and Sir Gild victorious in the battle. Sir Gild's chains failed to contain the ogre god, which struggled violently against its restraints. Lloyd realized the creature's power depended on Princess Hiyori's mind, making physical attacks ineffective. The two understood that destroying the monster alone was meaningless. Its essence remained untouchable. Lloyd and Sir Gild concluded they had to awaken Hiyori, the only one able to control the ogre god. Lloyd confronted Ars Meria, questioning the purpose of magic, understanding that true power relied on awakening those capable of guiding it. Lloyd struggled with his magic, feeling it failed to protect Ars Meria, despite his unwavering conviction. Tears fell as he admitted his inability to help her, yearning for the strength to defend her. Ars Meria reassured him that the burden was not his alone to bear, guiding his understanding. Lloyd realized that his focus on protecting her had prevented him from fully completing his own domain arts. Ars Meria's determination had completed the impossible. Her efforts protected everyone, showing that true strength came from her resolve. Ars Meria cast the anti-war domain, a guardian spell that protected everything around her. The ogre god challenged Lloyd, claiming that too much to protect would weaken his fighting ability. Lloyd realized that protecting Hiyori strengthened his magic, revealing the true core of his domain arts. The unending heat of his guardian arts shocked the ogre god, disrupting its power and focus. The ogre god began to melt and collapse, its mana weakening as Lloyd and Ars Meria's combined protection took effect. The ogre god shattered violently, its core weakening under the combined magic of Lloyd and Ars Meria. Lloyd navigated through the chaos, focusing on reaching Hiyori, despite the collapsing battlefield around him. He channeled mana circulation through his body, extending his hand toward Hiyori trapped inside the icy cage. Lloyd plunged into the depths of Hiyori's frozen heart, determined to reach her and awaken her consciousness. Hiyori floated encased in crystal, vulnerable yet protected, as Lloyd's magic approached to finally connect and save her. Hiyori received her meal prepared carefully by her attendants. She smiled, excited to show everyone her creation. The attendants explained the arrangements for her sleeping chambers. Hiyori sat quietly, feeling both anticipation and unease. Hiyori noticed the ice she made started melting unexpectedly. She wondered who was observing her actions silently. A mysterious voice revealed itself, claiming to be the power inside Hiyori. Memories of hearing it from childhood resurfaced. The voice grew stronger daily alongside her mana. Hiyori screamed in frustration, blaming it for her pain and unwanted power. Hiyori hesitated, hearing the voice warning her that using her power would waste her only purpose. The voice explained her father, the Emperor, intended to use her to seal an impending calamity. Hiyori realized her life was a cage to contain the ice power, meaningful only through sacrifice. She reflected on the life she thought she could live, and her connections with others fading. Hiyori understood eventually she would have to cast away everything she held dear to fulfill her duty. Hiyori reflected on casting everything aside. Despite giving up, she still felt emotions she could not remove, floating in darkness. Hiyori questioned why the lingering feelings remained, despite her attempts to abandon personal attachments. Hiyori remembered reading books constantly. Each story was about love, capturing her attention and sparking emotions within her. She realized giving up on love for herself, she still enjoyed observing and feeling others' romantic experiences. Hiyori understood she must have loved those stories, especially tales of princes coming to save, inspiring quiet longing. A young man appeared, calling out to Hiyori, recognizing her as the imprisoned princess needing rescue and support. Hiyori reflected on her fears, realizing she ignored others' voices from the start, feeling scared and isolated. Facing another Yasha of ice and snow, Hiyori saw someone sharing the same burden of immense sealed power. The opposing Yasha shouted that Hiyori had no future, declaring her existence was only as a cage. Despite uncertainty about the future, Hiyori embraced the other, holding on, showing determination to face what comes. Hiyori decided to live in the present, embracing the moment and letting go of past fears and regrets. She resolved to leave the cage that had constrained her life, breaking free from her internal limitations. Lloyd leapt forward, catching Hiyori as she fell, ensuring her safety and showing unwavering support and care. Hiyori pressed close to Lloyd, acknowledging that she heard his voice and felt reassured by his presence. With tears and gratitude, Hiyori thanked Lloyd, expressing appreciation for reaching out and helping her regain hope. Hiyori accepted the ogre god within her, resolving she would no longer fear its power or influence. A young ally called out her name, reaching Hiyori, signaling hope and recognition amid the lingering chaos. Hiyori apologized for making others suffer, expressing gratitude to those who shared in her pain and struggles. Susiri approached Hiyori, acknowledging the bond and shared experiences, showing care and mutual understanding between friends. Hiyori confessed her feelings, explaining why she held back, and realized she should have relied on Susiri. Hiyori apologized for not understanding Susiri's true feelings and questioned if she deserved to be with her. Susiri extended her hand, expressing a desire for mutual understanding, wanting to learn more about Hiyori's experiences. Hiyori, emotional and tearful, promised to talk more with Susiri, acknowledging that they were now in the same class. They embraced, finding comfort and reassurance in each other, solidifying a bond built through shared struggles and trust. Hiyori received clothing from another ally, feeling gratitude while adjusting to normal school life outside the previous burdens. Hiyori apologized for causing chaos during the entrance ceremony. Lloyd reassured her that fortunately, nobody was hurt. Lloyd reflected on Hiyori restraining the ogre god, even unconsciously preventing disaster while protecting everyone around her. He gently asked if Hiyori remembered her attacker, acknowledging the trauma and difficulty of recalling the traumatic events. Hiyori expressed unease, feeling as if her mind had been altered, though she thanked Lloyd for understanding. She admitted uncertainty about why the situation occurred, but recognized the clarity it brought about, reinforcing bonds. Lloyd concluded that someone in the academy had clearly nefarious intentions, and their vigilance would be required moving forward. Lloyd and Kanon arrived at the Magic Academy early. The courtyard was empty, echoing quiet footsteps as they approached. Lloyd remembered the previous day when a sudden threat appeared, testing his resolve and revealing hidden dangers around the school. Inside the academy, Lloyd turned a corner and was suddenly confronted by a mysterious figure. Shocked, he recognized a familiar presence. The figure embraced Lloyd, expressing relief and gratitude for his protection. Emotions ran high as safety returned temporarily. The woman reminded Lloyd of his limits, urging him to rest. Lloyd acknowledged her advice, understanding strength requires caution. Lloyd reflected on recent events, feeling responsible for worrying Kanon. He silently apologized to himself. Kanon approached him, addressing his concerns. Lloyd confirmed he needed to investigate a troubling matter. He recalled that the perpetrator possessed sensitive knowledge of the Ogre Empire. Lloyd feared other princesses might also be targeted. Kanon listened as Lloyd explained, offering to help him handle academy-related complications. They prepared for careful action. Kanon reassured Lloyd, emphasizing that adults would protect him. Lloyd accepted her guidance, resolving to rest and trust them. Lloyd smiled, assuring Kanon he was fine. He reminded himself to stay composed, despite lingering fatigue. He worried about Princess Hiyori after yesterday's traumatic event. Memories of past battles weighed heavily on him. Hiyori raced eagerly through the academy halls, celebrating her enthusiasm. Other students followed, caught up in her excitement. Lloyd was surprised by Hiyori's energy. Her cheerful determination contrasted with the recent dangerous events. Hiyori greeted Lloyd warmly, embarrassed but happy. He noticed her genuine joy, feeling relieved as the day began peacefully. Hiyori explained her morning training plans. Lloyd listened, offering reassurance and support for her efforts. Hiyori held Lloyd's hand, reminding him he had promised to assist her with any challenges that arose. She admitted she was new to the task. Lloyd felt responsibility, ready to guide her through the process. Lloyd agreed, slightly nervous but determined to help. Kanon watched, surprised at the earnest exchange. Kanon offered her assistance with healing magic, joining Lloyd and Hiyori. The group prepared for teamwork and cooperation. Hiyori excitedly shared her dream of gossiping about love. Lloyd and Kanon listened, surprised by her enthusiasm. The group noticed a newcomer entering the academy hall. Lloyd observed carefully, evaluating the situation. The newcomer introduced herself as Arichiel, Princess of the Holy Empire. Hiyori acknowledged her, nervous yet polite. Arichiel noted the group left early the previous day. Lloyd and Hiyori remained cautious, unsure of her intentions. Lloyd wondered if Arichiel suspected something had occurred. He stayed vigilant, preparing to manage any unexpected events. Arichiel advised Lloyd and Hiyori to avoid mentioning prior events. Lloyd understood and remained cautious. Arichiel explained that from now on, they would be classmates, aiming to bring out each other's strengths. Hiyori thanked Arichiel, expressing her excitement at the opportunity to work together. Arichiel acknowledged her politely. Hiyori admitted she had been nervous about getting along with other princesses. Her joy now was evident. Arichiel complimented Hiyori's purity, silently reflecting on the differences among the princesses. Lloyd observed quietly, feeling relieved. Hiyori was startled by the sudden noise. Lloyd watched as multiple princesses entered the hall energetically. Kuzunoha and Yuzuriha noticed Hiyori's change in demeanor. They observed her carefully, commenting on her calmness. Hiyori explained, she used incense to sleep better. The others laughed, relieved she was in control of the ogre god. The group expressed that they liked Hiyori's current self. She felt accepted, a soft smile spreading across her face. Lloyd questioned the commotion, noticing the group's unusual energy. He stayed vigilant, sensing the subtle dynamics among the princesses. Hiyori fit in with the group. The princesses, including Yuzuriha and Kuzunoha, felt relieved by her presence. Hiyori greeted Aurelie warmly. Lloyd observed quietly, noting the closeness forming between the students. Professor Siba entered the hall, surprised to see the group so early. He waved cheerfully at them. Siba asked Lloyd to accompany him to gather materials for class. Lloyd agreed, ready to assist. The princesses discussed class representation. They decided to proceed together, ensuring fairness while preparing for the day ahead. Aurelie considered volunteering as class representative, hoping to spend more time with Lloyd during their duties. She deemed herself the most suitable candidate, given the situation and her relationship with Lloyd. Aurelie expressed her desire to learn more about Lloyd. She prepared herself to take the role seriously. Hiyori admitted she only volunteered because no other candidate was appropriate. The others reacted with surprise. Aurelie announced she would judge who deserved to stand beside Lloyd. Everyone watched anxiously, feeling the tension. The princesses decided to determine the class representative immediately, Lloyd observed, noticing the excitement and anticipation around him. At the Magic Academy, Lloyd and the 6 princesses gathered, tensions high as the class representative contest began. Princess Hiyori, Ars Miria's fragment, stared determinedly, challenging the others for the honor to represent their class with pride. Some princesses tried to restrain Hiyori, worried she might overexert herself and cause unintended problems during the contest. Others observed eagerly, treating the competition as a chance to witness Lloyd's attention and affection, their excitement palpable. Finally, Hiyori faced Lloyd directly in a duel, their swords clashing expertly, showing mutual respect and unmatched skill. At the academy, students discussed Hiyori's chances of winning the class representative duel against Lloyd, excitement and tension rising. Lloyd watched closely as Hiyori prepared, while advisors questioned whether this was a wise decision for her. Hiyori focused, balancing her personal care and her responsibilities, determined to prove herself worthy of Lloyd's admiration. The other princesses noticed her hesitation and decided to step in, taking over the competition for her. Yuzuriha and Kuzunoha declared they would lead the class, ensuring a lively, fun, and energetic environment for everyone. At the academy, the teacher asked Yuzuriha and Kuzunoha which one would be the official class representative. Both girls insisted they should be candidates, pressing against each other, creating confusion and tension in the room. Yuzuriha argued that the two of them counted as one person, refusing to be split for the contest. Hiyori and others were shocked as the rule was explained. Apart, they only count as half a person. The teacher warned them that ignoring simple rules could affect the quality of their classwork, emphasizing discipline. Roken refused to break the rules, causing Yuzuriha and Kuzunoha to call him a traitor, frustrated by his discipline. From the audience, Hiyori and Kanon watched the duel unfold, noting Aureli's early withdrawal and the reactions it caused. Kanon blushed nervously when questioned about her participation, hesitant to step forward, while others teased her. She politely declined, explaining that she would focus on her brother outside of class, prioritizing him. Hiyori expressed curiosity about Kanon's reasoning, asking for clarification later, keeping the classroom tension mixed with gentle interest. Hiyori and Ryunia emerged as the final candidates for class representative, surprising everyone in the classroom. Ryunia stated she had no personal interest in leadership, caring only about Lloyd, ignoring social rivalries. Hiyori explained the responsibilities of the role, emphasizing unity and coordination, while the other princesses watched intently. Ryunia criticized the act of blind obedience to rules, claiming it forced pretenses and disrupted natural behavior. Hiyori and the others reacted with shock, as Ryunia challenged her, stating the act of pretense was unpleasant to witness. The academy's supervisors warned Ryunia that further insults would disrespect the Holy Empire, demanding order in the room. Ryunia and Hiyori confronted each other, with Ryunia accusing Hiyori of being overly involved in human affairs. Yuzuriha and Kuzunoha reminded themselves that their bickering could reflect poorly on Lloyd, feeling a mix of concern and caution. Kanon reacted strongly to the confrontation, shouting "Brother!" as the tension escalated between the princesses and candidates. Susiri arrived with authority, questioning what everyone was fighting about, trying to restore order and clarity to the chaotic situation. Susiri approached, reminding everyone that Lloyd and the professor were still engaged, and their help was needed. She scolded the group for delaying the class representative decision, urging them to focus on responsibility. The princesses realized they had been passive, standing idle instead of assisting Lloyd, causing a pause in the contest. Yuzuriha and Kuzunoha admitted their oversight, blaming the chaos caused by Aureli, acknowledging their mistake. Ryunia declared that Susiri, who took decisive action, deserved the role of class representative, ending the dispute. The princesses praised Susiri, acknowledging that she was suited for the role, and congratulating her determination. Susiri was officially confirmed as the class representative, ending the long debate and dispute among the candidates. The others, including Ryunia and Hiyori, watched in surprise, questioning what had transpired during the selection process. Kanon explained that the situation had been resolved peacefully, and the decision had been made based on initiative. The princesses reflected on the unusual agreement, noting it was rare for everyone to accept the same outcome. The princesses decided not to take the class representative role, claiming it was too much work for them. Lloyd was confirmed as the other class representative, carrying responsibility while others observed his dedication. He pledged to improve the class so that everyone could enjoy it fully, showing leadership and care. Yuzuriha urged Lloyd to sign up for the same classes, wanting to work together and stay close. The princesses reflected on how beloved Lloyd was by everyone, recognizing his charisma and respect. Kanon resolved silently, admiring Lloyd's example, aspiring to become as dependable and inspiring as him one day. At the Human Empire Dorm's dojo rear, Kanon trained alone, focusing her swordsmanship while the wind swirled around her. Kanon's attack clashed against an illusion, revealing a fake prince modeled after her older brother, testing her precision and strength. Her blade wobbled slightly under pressure, but she maintained her stance, pushing herself to overcome the illusion's challenge. Kanon realized her current power was insufficient. She needed to grow stronger to emulate Lloyd's legendary skill. Meanwhile, preparations for the upcoming Spring Magic Festival at the Academy continued, signaling new trials and opportunities for Kanon. At the classroom, the special class divided into two teams for a competitive team battle, with everyone paying close attention. The leaders were announced. Lloyd and Susiri would guide their respective teams, setting the tone for the upcoming fight. Rules were explained. Students would wear the same magic uniforms and launch mana attacks, with elimination based on hit detection. Students received their uniforms, each garment customized to reflect individual mana color, preparing them for the challenge ahead. The instructor demonstrated the uniform's holographic function, emphasizing that only the designated area could change color, ensuring fair combat. Kanon and her classmates marveled as the uniforms changed colors, reflecting each student's mana, testing the equipment's functionality. Lloyd and another student observed the excitement, Noting that the friendly match promised a fun, engaging exercise for everyone, the instructors explained that the exercise would unite the class, forcing princesses who often clashed to cooperate strategically. Teams were randomized, adding suspense as students adjusted to new partners and anticipated the magic battle. Students gathered, discussing strategies and preparing themselves mentally for the upcoming challenge. Eager to demonstrate their skills and coordination, the instructor expressed excitement, looking forward to observing the upcoming match 1 week later, signaling the festival's official start. One princess declared victory, the only acceptable outcome, showing her competitive determination and fiery attitude toward the upcoming battle. Other students expressed joy at participating together, enjoying the chance to cooperate and strengthen friendships before the match. Kanon prepared herself, determined to contribute fully and work as a team to maximize their chances of success. The students collectively set their sights on winning, balancing strategy and teamwork, while respecting each other's abilities during practice. Kanon outlined the strategy, assigning Rian and Savine to ambush positions, while scouting enemy movements with precision. She detailed the assault force formation, showing where each of the 5 remaining students would advance and engage. Roken and Sir Doggo were assigned to scout, though one student expressed uncertainty about their effectiveness in this role. Kanon questioned whether being on the front lines was prudent, evaluating risks for herself and her teammates. She emphasized leadership, reminding the team that true leaders share responsibility and never leave subordinates to fight alone. Kanon questioned the strategy, concerned that running without fighting might risk losing the moment Susiri was hit. She observed the team silently, noting that Ryunea showed no objections to the plan, maintaining a calm presence. Ryunea admitted she had been bored and had fallen asleep, revealing a relaxed attitude toward the discussion. Kanon hesitated, considering how to proceed while balancing her own capabilities with the team's strategic needs. Susiri explained Kanon's strengths and weaknesses, clarifying that battles relying solely on mana were not her specialty, guiding tactical placement. Kanon asked the team to choose between winning or standing out, emphasizing the importance of making a clear decision. The classmates deferred to her leadership, agreeing to follow whatever strategy she ultimately decided on for the match. Kanon hesitated, aware of the pressure and responsibility, unsure how to balance morale with tactical effectiveness. Uraha reassured Lloyd, advising caution and noting that Kanon had been forced into such decisions before, showing her experience. Kanon reflected on Susiri's dedication, understanding that being in charge meant taking responsibility and acting for the good of the team. Uraha suggested letting Kanon act freely, trusting her judgment and experience as a leader in the team. Lloyd reflected on his past, recalling the weight of responsibility when first joining the Emperor's Royal Guard. He noticed that the team continued to have problems, while remembering the time he first met Ars Maria. Kanon remained calm, trying to mediate and prevent the team from escalating into chaos during preparations. Despite some members suggesting extreme tactics, Kanon stayed focused, understanding that leadership meant maintaining control and thoughtful strategy. The forest became alive with anticipation as Lloyd and his classmates prepared for the Spring Magical Festival's special class battle magic paint. They positioned themselves carefully, eyes sharp, ready for the challenge ahead. At the signal, the students surged forward, dashing between trees with agility. Aurelius and Kanon led their team, moving with precision, while scouts disappeared into the foliage. Lloyd reminded himself to follow the plan, floating above the treetops to maintain a clear view of his team's movements. The strategy was clear. 5 main members defended the center while scouts patrolled all directions, ensuring no enemy approached undetected. Time passed in tense silence. Reports from the scouts never arrived, leaving Lloyd and his allies uncertain, anticipating the first sign of their opponents. Princess Susiri questioned the team as scouts reported confusing movements. Lloyd's forces couldn't locate enemy positions. Tension grew among allies. Lloyd analyzed formations mentally, realizing enemy divided into 2-member pairs, able to respond quickly and potentially surround his team. Unexpectedly, the opposing team launched an ambush, attacking suddenly from hidden locations, forcing Lloyd and Susiri to react quickly. Aurelius and Kanon stepped forward, forming a defensive line to protect Lloyd and Susiri, holding attackers at bay firmly. The enemy unleashed magical creatures, doggos, from concealment. Lloyd and the team braced themselves, preparing to counter the sudden assault. Aurelius noticed magical doggos emerging suddenly. Kanon warned the team. Susiri prepared defensive magic to dispel the incoming beasts. Aurelius needed to reduce the beast spirits' numbers first. Susiri struggled controlling them, while the twins observed cautiously nearby. Aurelius raised her hands, summoning magical hoops of commandment. She aimed to control the aggressive beasts efficiently. Lloyd realized the beasts were a diversion. The enemy aimed to separate him from Susiri. He prepared to rush. Eri tagged Aurelius, signaling backup arrived. The team regrouped quickly, responding to the sudden ambush with coordination and urgency. Aurelius and Hiyori arrived unexpectedly. Aurelius demanded answers from Rinea and Alphonse. The team regrouped urgently to protect Susiri. Susiri faced overwhelming enemies alone. One team member held them back, while the other ensured she survived the chaotic battlefield. Lloyd realized his formation was compromised. Despite careful planning, he prepared to intercept enemies and support Susiri immediately. The ambushing twins appeared suddenly. Their attack caught Susiri's allies by surprise, forcing them into defensive maneuvers. Aurelius explained the strategy clearly. Two members launched ambushes, while others cornered Susiri, ensuring tactical advantage for their team. Lloyd confronted Dumolis, questioning her tactics. Aurelius criticized his predictable habits. The team braced, analyzing strategy and enemy positions carefully. Dumolis explained her reasoning behind the ambush. She intended to give Lloyd's team insight, allowing them to understand her strategy. Lloyd advanced cautiously, gripping his weapon. His eyes scanned for openings while assessing the twins' ambush positions. Preparing to attack, Dumolis's opponent performed an enchantment on their sword, channeling magical energy for a powerful offensive strike in response. The attack hit suddenly, forcing Dumolis to dodge. The team reacted immediately, adjusting their movements to counter the unexpected assault. Lloyd focused on his sword, determined to defeat his opponent. He considered the weapon sufficient for the upcoming strike. Aurelius observed from afar. She deduced Lloyd's location and realized her coordinated attack could force enemies into revealing positions. Lloyd completed his strategic scanning for hidden enemies. His plan appeared perfect, yet he sensed potential danger remaining. The opponent confronted Lloyd, noting that his predictable actions allowed counterattacks. Aurelius's advice highlighted flaws in battlefield decision-making. Lloyd acknowledged Aurelius's insight. Both realized that in actual combat, reading each other's actions dictated strategy execution. The twins cheered for Lloyd. He clenched his sword, reminded that this was a game, yet stakes felt real. Lloyd's attack continued. Star sword art. Fey glittering stars traced arcs through the forest, seeking to reveal all enemies' positions. He scanned carefully, expecting no hiding place. Lloyd's plan felt flawless, but he remained wary of surprises lurking nearby. The opponent criticized Lloyd's approach. Aurelius reminded him that predictable actions allowed the enemy to counter and read strategies. Lloyd enacted Guardian Arts, Fey First Form Nagi. He advanced confidently, balancing strategy with aggressive swordsmanship in the duel. Understanding the challenge, Lloyd embraced the leader role. He charged forward, calling to fight, determined to respond in kind. Princess Susiri launched a swift attack using her star sword art North Star, while Lloyd blocked with a circular shield. Susiri observed that her stance and swings were perfect, yet the opponent's defenses remained unbroken. Shaw felt doubt creeping in, questioning her ability to lead the team effectively against powerful enemies. Encouragement from her allies gave Susiri renewed focus, reigniting her determination to push forward with skill. The team cheered for Susiri, celebrating her courage, boosting her confidence, and strengthening the bonds between her and teammates. Princess Susiri received encouragement from her teammate, inspiring her to push forward with renewed determination. She reflected that leaders carry heavy responsibilities because of the people who support them in every battle. Memories of past leaders who cared deeply for their allies reminded Susiri why she admired them. She realized her immediate goal was to act in the moment and do her best for her team. Susiri executed a powerful moonsword art half moonstrike, combining focus, skill, and support from her teammates. Princess Susiri moved unpredictably, her sword style completely free and impossible for Lloyd to anticipate. She admitted she wasn't as skilled as her older brother or Lloyd, but prepared to fight anyway. Susiri focused on the teammates who depended on her, feeling the responsibility of the moment. With renewed confidence, she executed Moonsword Art Gibbous Moon, channeling her strength and determination. The surrounding allies watched in awe, recognizing her skill and the immense power she wielded in a single strike. Susiri realized that even a small beginning could grow into infinite possibilities with effort and focus. Her responsibility and strong will transformed her sword into a true weapon, reflecting her commitment to duty. Teammates admired her courage, praising the princess for her determination and inspiring presence in battle. Her strength came from fighting for others, channeling power beyond personal limits to protect and support. Lloyd acknowledged that he too must act decisively, understanding that teamwork and resolve can change the flow of events. Susiri assessed the situation calmly, noting that the conflict had escalated beyond expectations. She prepared to act, signaling the start of a decisive counterattack against her opponent. Lloyd realized he couldn't match her skill even by enchanting his weapon, searching for an opening instead. Susiri struck with precision, forcing Lloyd to react defensively as her sword skill overwhelmed him. Lloyd was shocked to see a familiar sword appear, recognizing it and questioning its presence in the battle. Lloyd grabbed the sword, surprised by the sudden pull toward it, sensing a mysterious power within. He looked up to see Susiri approaching, her movements precise and calculated, showing full control. Freed from constraints, Susiri's presence made Lloyd realize the immense challenge ahead, and the sword's significance. He recognized that the sword and its power could change the battle's flow, demanding immediate action. Teammates called out to Lloyd, sensing danger, while he prepared to respond, aware that something was wrong. Susiri launched herself into the air, her sword slicing through the space with immense speed and power, forcing Lloyd to defend. Lloyd froze as he saw a shadowy figure holding the sword, his mind racing to understand the unexpected presence. Lloyd advanced cautiously through the forest, his movements strange and stiff. Kanon noticed his blank stare and unusual aura. He continued walking without hesitation, as if unconscious, yet perfectly balanced with his spear. No weakness appeared. Kanon struggled to read Lloyd's speed, realizing he moved faster than any opponent she had faced before. Each strike from Lloyd carried immense force, far beyond a duel, as if he was a battlefield veteran restrained earlier. Suddenly, Mayuria arrived, alarmed, calling for her brother. She rushed forward, watching Lloyd's unstoppable advance. With growing concern, Mayuria reached out, shocked that Lloyd rejected her mana induction, breaking their usual mental link unexpectedly. Kanon watched from afar, excited and nervous, realizing this moment marked Lloyd's full awakening as Guardian Vance. The ground cracked violently under Lloyd's feet as he unleashed power that radiated shockwaves across the battlefield. Everyone nearby ducked instinctively, shielding themselves. As the earth trembled and debris flew around them in panic, Hayori observed closely, noting that this overwhelming energy was not a domain arte but Lloyd's raw combat force. The group noticed an obstruction blocking their view, preventing them from observing Lloyd's fight directly. Kanon and Mayuria realized even Dragon Princess's powerful attacks could not penetrate the barrier, indicating its remarkable durability. The ground rumbled violently as cracks formed, signaling the immense force Lloyd unleashed within the hidden area. Inside the darkness domain, Lloyd stood alert, aware of being trapped but ready to confront the mysterious, oppressive force. Observers noted Lloyd's fighting lacked his usual elegance, and the mana radiating from him seemed unfamiliar, unlike his normal style. Lloyd's expression was blank, his control completely gone, leaving him dangerous and unpredictable in the battlefield. Kanon realized his uniform reacted to external mana spreading across his body, linked directly to the mysterious spear. Kanon lunged, trying to stop him from harming anyone. But Lloyd struck with overwhelming force, barely restrained by her intervention. In a sudden shift, Lloyd and Vance faced each other, mirrored and tense, their positions reflecting past training and bonds. Lloyd, now fully himself, calmly spoke to Vance, explaining his presence and intentions, bringing clarity and relief to the group. Lloyd appeared confused, wondering why he was in the same strange place again, sensing a dark presence approaching. Black tendrils emerged from the shadows, dragging toward him as he struggled to maintain control and awareness. Freed confronted Lloyd, observing the overwhelming hatred and emotion consuming him, reflecting a deep personal conflict. Lloyd, caught between rage and fear, realized he was at risk of being swallowed by the darkness surrounding him. Kanon leapt forward, striking with precision to halt Lloyd's uncontrolled movement, clashing with his power and regaining momentary balance. Kanon struggled to stop Lloyd, but he refused to let go of the spear, resisting all her attempts. She performed a moon sword art technique, striking with a crescent-shaped blade, aiming to stun and redirect him. The darkness absorbed her light, making her realize her attacks were insufficient against the growing power consuming Lloyd. She calculated that relying on force alone would fail, considering disenchant magic to weaken the dark mana. Kanon focused, recalling the secret Imperial technique capable of neutralizing mana, hoping she could successfully pull it off in time. Kanon stared at Lloyd, shocked by his expressionless face, sensing the immense dark energy still consuming him. Other students observed from outside, worried and debating whether to call a teacher as the tremors continued. Mayuria tried to calm everyone, urging patience while Lloyd and Kanon struggled inside the unstable area. Aurelis reminded the group that Lloyd and Kanon were their elected leaders, instilling hope and trust in their abilities. Princess Aurelis, concerned for her brother, rushed forward with determination, praying he remained safe, despite the chaos. Kanon raced through the cracks in the ground, determined to perform the secret technique and save Lloyd, who had vanished. Suddenly Lloyd reappeared from the darkness, raising his spear just as Kanon turned, narrowly avoiding a fatal strike. Lloyd leaps into the collapsing battlefield, his sword raised. Cannon follows closely, eyes wide, sensing imminent danger. The enemy strikes unexpectedly. Lloyd focuses, and a faint image of Ars Maria appears beside him. The vision strengthens his resolve, guiding his movements. Lloyd pauses, confused by a sudden strange sensation. He senses someone important observing, recognizing a familiar aura. Ars Maria's spirit stands silently, wishing for a peaceful world. Lloyd realizes the magnitude of her enduring dream, determined. Lloyd pledges to protect her vision. He has little time but commits fully to her side. Lloyd reaches out a hand, guided by his master's words. He realizes Ars Maria is the most important person in his life. Ars Maria smiles at Lloyd, tears in her eyes. She shines brightly, a guiding light that never disappears. Lloyd questions his identity and purpose. Confusion strikes as he struggles to recall a vital memory from his past. Determined, Lloyd fights the darkness surrounding him. He refuses to lose sight of his reason for being. Lloyd calls out to Freed. He searches for answers, ready to face whatever challenge awaits. Lloyd struggles as shadows drag him backward. Freed's presence looms, and the enemy's dark power grows near him. Cannon positions her sword firmly, freezing the enemy's advance. She stands resolute, protecting Lloyd, and buying time. Cannon spots a fleeting opportunity. She leaps into action, eyes sharp, ready to exploit the enemy's weakness. She moves decisively, shouting her intent. Her attack radiates energy, aiming to break the enemy's defense. Cannon unleashes the human empire's secret technique, Sky Full of Stars. Brilliant sparks illuminate the battlefield, overwhelming the foe. Lloyd faces a strange figure in darkness. Shadows twist around him, threatening to overwhelm. Light suddenly shines from him. Lloyd is surprised, sensing a new power awakening inside. He notices Princess Susiri appearing among the brilliance. Her presence radiates hope and reassurance. Lloyd stands firm, observing the growing light around him. The enemy's shadows begin to crumble. Princess Susiri's energy merges with Lloyd's, illuminating the battlefield. Darkness retreats as hope restores strength. Lloyd drifts alone in the air, suspended. Silence surrounds him as he reflects on the battle. A brilliant light erupts nearby. Lloyd senses its power, illuminating the darkness that had threatened him. Princess Susiri appears amid the radiance. Lloyd recognizes her, shocked and relieved by her presence. The domain collapses around them. Freed and other allies witness the destruction, acknowledging the battle's end. Cannon rushes toward Lloyd. He regains composure, holding his head, ready to recover fully after the confrontation. Lloyd looks toward Princess Susiri, confused but relieved to see her after the battle. Cannon's eyes fill with tears as she watches Lloyd, recognizing his survival and courage. Cannon rushes forward and hugs Lloyd tightly. The gesture surprises everyone around them. Freed and other allies watch, relieved and smiling. They confirm that Lloyd and Susiri are safe. Susiri and the others notice Lloyd's clothes are stained. Despite small setbacks, the group celebrates their victory together. Cannon collapses slightly, exhausted from the intense battle. She remembers how much effort everyone put in. Lloyd and the team celebrate together. Susiri's team emerges victorious, bringing smiles and relief to everyone. Other students approach Lloyd, checking if he is unharmed. He acknowledges their concern, feeling grateful. Freed, and the other teammates reassure Lloyd, saying the competition was enjoyable, despite the outcome. Cannon embraces Lloyd, worried at first but relieved now. Lloyd apologizes, explaining the sudden disconnection of their mind link. Lloyd reflects on the spear he touched. Its power overtook him, and he lost all control. Now the weapon has vanished. Lloyd turns to Freed and the other students. He surveys the academy grounds, questioning the strange events that occurred. The team gathers nearby, some still recovering, others celebrating their victory. The Heavenly Empire dorms were quiet in the morning. Cannon and other students slept peacefully, unaware of the day beginning. Outside, a large creature moved its wings, stretching across the courtyard. The sunlight reflected off its fur, signaling the start of training. Lloyd practiced relentlessly, running alongside the creature. His movements were precise, reflecting his experience as a guardian knight. The giant magical beast observed calmly. 8 years of routine training had created a strong bond between them. Lloyd sat questioning whether his forest training improved his skills. Tet listened, licking his paw, patiently waiting for answers. Lloyd reflected after training, realizing the world was full of unexpected challenges and small surprises everywhere around him. He recalled touching a mysterious spear during a battle, which had almost harmed Princess Susiri, filling him with worry. Tet watched as Lloyd pondered if conspiracies or investigations by the princess's mother affected his recent struggles in the forest. Memories of an old friend emerged, someone who had been like family, yet their cold eyes unsettled Lloyd's heart. Tet tilted his head, silently questioning Lloyd about his lost friendship, prompting Lloyd to reconsider past relationships and trust. Lloyd tried to lighten the mood, spending time with Tet to pass the hours and maintain their bond. Tet reminded Lloyd of his secret training, noting he had never mentioned having a best friend before. Lloyd reflected on Tet's power and identity, silently questioning why the magical creature was so formidable. He revealed internal struggles about restrictions preventing him from sharing past life memories and his loneliness without his old friend. Despite his guarded heart, Lloyd acknowledged that someone intruding into these precious memories created a small crack in his solitude. Lloyd clenched his fist, feeling conflicted as time seemed to twist memories he thought remained unchanged. Tet reminded him that change is natural, and that even time's passage cannot be stopped. Lloyd realized that to overcome his struggles, he only needed to return to his normal self and trust his strength. He reflected on his reincarnation journey, recognizing that 1,000 years felt brief compared to a magical beast's lifespan. Lloyd asked Tet if the creature had friends besides him, discovering a small unspoken bond that deepened their companionship. The princesses discussed Tet's origins, noting he came from the Beast Empire and surprised them in the Heavenly Empire. Tet corrected Lloyd, explaining that unlike lions, cats rarely form groups, causing Lloyd to apologize for misunderstanding. Lloyd tried to make amends, acknowledging Tet's feelings and admitting he had been careless in his remarks. Back at the dorm, a cheerful greeting welcomed Lloyd, with his sister presenting breakfast prepared to surprise him after training. Canon and the others expressed warmth and care, showing Lloyd the small joys of family and friendship in the academy. The household gathered for breakfast, inviting Sol and Cosette to join, showing warmth and unity within the mansion. Lloyd reviewed his courses, considering recommendations for general classes and exploring textbooks for subjects he wanted to study. The younger princesses eagerly asked about campus life, making Lloyd feel both surprised and nostalgic as a senior student. He admired the variety of meals, noting classical dishes from different empires, and observing his cooking skills improving. The lively morning reminded Lloyd of life at the mansion, reconnecting him to memories of family and home. Lloyd felt overly emotional after a recent incident, realizing he needed to regain composure and focus on daily life. He listened to the princesses' excitement, promising to show them every facility on campus during their next visit. Miss Raksha appeared, reporting about the mysterious magic used the previous day, showing her serious approach to the investigation. Lloyd and Raksha agreed to continue examining the situation, both determined to uncover the source of the magic. The magic involved matched the same mana used in the kidnapping of Princess Hiyori, deepening Lloyd's concern for her safety. Lloyd realized a single culprit targeted the princesses. Recognizing the threat was skilled in high-tier magic, he felt fear and frustration, blaming himself for not being strong enough to prevent prior dangers. Raksha admitted her own doubts, unsure if she could protect Princess Hiyori from future threats. Lloyd reassured himself, understanding the weight of responsibility as a guardian and sharing the sense of helplessness with Raksha together. They resolved to support the princesses, working as class representatives and guardians, determined to prevent further danger. Lloyd told Raksha she was important to him, emphasizing the value of their friendship and shared responsibility. Raksha, flustered and blushing, expressed gratitude, while the others observed with amusement at Lloyd's heartfelt words. Lloyd noted that at-will teleportation allowed him to monitor developments without devices, strengthening his confidence in protecting the princesses. He strategized to capture the culprit targeting Princess Hiyori, then Princess Susiri, ensuring no other princesses would be harmed. The two younger princesses were instructed to attend class normally, while Lloyd and Tet took responsibility for investigating the threat. The first period introduced fundamental exercises, focusing on magic usable regardless of attributes, alongside basic spell practice. Second period covered magic history, following the professor's textbook and emphasizing the evolution of magical knowledge over time. Lloyd's third period involved classical heavenly language, translating old texts while feeling nervous around the unusual students in class. The fourth period explored magical tools, allowing hands-on interaction to learn construction and practical application across campus. A guest lecturer was introduced, explaining the creation of a simple magical tool to enhance student understanding. Professor Yuka greeted the class enthusiastically, presenting herself warmly and establishing a positive, engaging environment for learning magic. Yuka Amanagi entered the classroom confidently, introducing herself as the head of the research lab, promising support. Lloyd sat quietly, observing Yuka as she prepared to collaborate with all students during their lessons. Yuka smiled warmly, her excitement and energy radiating across the room, encouraging everyone silently with her presence. Lloyd felt a strange familiarity upon seeing Yuka, questioning if he had encountered her in the past. Memories stirred within Lloyd, making him wonder if Yuyuka Amanagi had met him somewhere previously, causing silent curiosity. The teacher introduced the class to creating a rod-shaped magic tool, explaining its importance as a staff. Students were instructed to pick a transparent magistone and choose a base of metal, wood, or glass. The classroom buzzed as students admired the sparkling materials, comparing stones like they were at a jeweler. Using different colored supplementary stones, students realized they could channel mana they weren't naturally born with. By transmitting mana through their staffs, students understood the tool's expanded combat options and enhanced magical versatility efficiently. Yuyuka noticed students' attention on a golden staff idea arranged with blood roses, highlighting unique magical potential. She explained how using magistones matching their innate mana allowed students to unleash magic at higher output efficiently. By passing mana through the staff, students could focus their energy, creating concentrated magical power instead of scattered output. Yuyuka demonstrated that staffs acted as converters and strengtheners, enabling precise, powerful magic far beyond normal capability. Students explored different base materials, discovering water and wind mana worked better with wood, testing various combinations to optimize magic. Lloyd observed the improved magic tools, recalling the gigantic tool from the entrance examination and festival uniforms. He reflected on how staves had evolved, becoming easier to use over 1,000 years, surprising him silently. Yuyuka explained that his abundant, colorless mana allowed him to channel magic, without relying on any specific tool. Students practiced with staffs, realizing they could control mana precisely, focusing energy to enhance both accuracy and output. Yuyuka embraced Lloyd, expressing relief and happiness that he had finally returned to see her after the entrance examinations. Lloyd remembered Professor Seba's warning about retaking the mana evaluation, feeling anxious about the upcoming challenge. His classmates reassured him, forgiving past absences and explaining that the opportunity had never arisen before. Yuyuka approached Lloyd, expressing her joy at seeing him again and holding him tightly after so long. She forgave him for missing previous events, showing understanding while reinforcing their deep connection and trust. Yuyuka confessed she already knew everything about Lloyd, revealing the bond between them as Guardian Vance and his reincarnation. Yuyuka recalled Lloyd's colorless mana from the entrance examinations and considered how to test his potential using Domain Artes. She analyzed his abilities during the battle with the Demon Princess and discovered compatibility with the Heavenly Emperor's anti-war domain. Investigating further, Yuyuka realized Lloyd resonated with a relic from 1,000 years ago, confirming his historical connection. Observing his duel with the human princess, she verified his skill and determined he naturally gravitated toward the ancient spear. Yuyuka felt rewarded, seeing Lloyd's abilities fully awaken, appreciating that her careful observations and efforts were finally validated. Lloyd faced trouble in the classroom, drawing the concern of his classmates who observed Yuyuka's unusually close behavior. Kanon became protective, reacting strongly as she noticed Lloyd in potential danger, causing tension among the students. Yuyuka and the others intervened to prevent conflict, attempting to separate Kanon from Lloyd to maintain order. During the commotion, Yuyuka accidentally operated a magic tool incorrectly, causing chaos and scattering magical effects throughout the room. Amidst the chaos, Yuyuka moved close to Lloyd, unintentionally pressing him forward, creating an awkward and intimate moment between them. During the classroom chaos, Yuyuka fell forward onto Lloyd, creating a close, awkward encounter between them. The students around them noticed the proximity, while Lloyd and Yuyuka felt an intense personal moment. Lloyd checked if Yuyuka was injured, showing concern as she recovered from the accidental fall. Yuyuka trembled, startled by the close contact, blushing while Lloyd remained cautious and supportive. Lloyd ensured she was okay after overexerting herself with magic, calming her flustered and dizzy state. Lloyd took a break from the classroom chaos, leaving his classmates to manage Yuyuka and continue lessons. Yuyuka, feeling exhilarated, leaned forward excitedly, recognizing Lloyd's presence as a powerful and familiar guardian. She acknowledged that the spear had been useful to him, appreciating his skills and the connection it represented. A shadowy figure, Dean, appeared in the doorway, silently observing the events, adding tension to the otherwise lively scene. Dean admonished Yuyuka to maintain propriety while interacting with Lloyd, reminding her to keep her behavior in check. Dean asked Yuyuka about meeting Lloyd, curious about her impressions of the legendary guardian from 1,000 years ago. Yuyuka confidently described Lloyd as the Silver Guardian from a millennium prior, acknowledging his extraordinary skills and legacy. Dean realized Vance Strahl had accompanied Lloyd, connecting the past guardian with the present hero's journey. He addressed the Heavenly Emperor formally, closing his book and emphasizing the significance of Lloyd's alignment with the ancient revered guardians. Lloyd, Kanon, and Mayuria stood outside the academy, noticing tension in Mayuria's expression. She appeared unusually exhausted after recent investigations. Mayuria reviewed mana data from Lloyd's uniform, analyzing potential threats. Her research reached a critical point, linking recent mysterious incidents. Lloyd reflected cautiously on the recent calm, noting the absence of attacks during the festival. He stayed alert despite relief. The trio observed the academy grounds, realizing the dean had returned. Mayuria hoped to update him about recent developments. Lloyd and the women discussed the dean's character, noting he had been absent during exams and ceremonies. Questions remained unanswered. Lloyd learned about the dean, known as the Kaleidoscope Prodigy. The dean focused on anti-war research and rarely appeared publicly. Mayuria checked the faculty database early to narrow down potential suspects. Lloyd and Kanon observed her meticulous investigation. Mayuria embraced Lloyd and Kanon tightly, expressing care for them. She reassured them even if she returned home late. The three prepared for the day, with Mayuria encouraging the children to focus on school while she managed responsibilities. Lloyd participated in physical education class. Guided by an instructor, they trained their bodies to complement magical skills effectively. The students organized for physical training, splitting into pairs for 3 exercise sets. Lloyd scanned for a partner absent today. Lloyd noticed the missing Roken and considered who he should pair with, feeling unsure about the exercise ahead. 2 students offered to match with Lloyd, including Jild, showing readiness and enthusiasm for training. The students demonstrated skill, leaping and strategizing. Lloyd observed powerful techniques while noticing weaker ones excluded. Suddenly, Princesses Kuzunoha and Yuzuriha appeared, running to Lloyd with excitement, surprising him and the other students nearby. Lloyd faced Princesses Kuzunoha and Yuzuriha, surprised by their sudden presence at the training grounds. The 2 princesses grabbed Lloyd's hands, urging him to follow them. They dashed quickly, leaving others behind. Lloyd questioned their actions. The princesses directed him toward a hiding spot in the general classroom's facility. Kuzunoha and Yuzuriha explained excitedly that their father had just arrived at the academy, prompting urgency. Lloyd processed the news, realizing the significance of their father's presence and what it might mean for their plans. Lloyd, Kuzunoha, and Yuzuriha confronted the Beast Emperor Kusunoki Tirfa at the academy. The emperor greeted them warmly. The princesses anxiously urged Roken to help them avoid their father, showing nervous gestures and urgency. Tirfa acknowledged the loyalty of Roken and his attendants, deciding to search for the princesses himself. Lloyd and the princesses activated Guardian Art's second form, preparing for defense while staying close together. The trio minimized their presence and sound, explaining to Lloyd how they could safely remain hidden for now. Kuzunoha and Yuzuriha explained that a teacher had summoned them and their father, unexpectedly arriving from the Beast Empire. Lloyd realized Roken had gone ahead to handle their father, explaining his absence from class and easing concern. The princesses playfully squeezed and tickled Lloyd, causing laughter and confusion as they navigated the tight hiding spot. Lloyd struggled to keep them steady inside the confined area, urging them to stop moving while maintaining balance. Suddenly, a small squeaking sound appeared, surprising them, as they noticed a tiny creature nearby, adding tension to the moment. The mouse-shaped creature surprised Lloyd and the princesses. They realized it was a miniature spirit used for tracking objects. An explosion erupted nearby, forcing them to move quickly and dodge the blast while staying close together. Lloyd confirmed the explosion's source, recognizing the urgency as the Beast Emperor approached the scene. The princesses were spotted by their father, who announced he had found them, increasing tension for Lloyd and the group. The current Beast Emperor revealed himself, demanding they return to the Beast Empire, leaving Lloyd and the princesses in shock. Kuzunoha and Yuzuriha protested leaving the academy so soon, worried about missing lessons after barely a month. The Beast Emperor ruled that Yuzuriha could remain, but Kuzunoha needed to return with him immediately. Lloyd and the princesses reacted with shock, especially Kuzunoha, struggling to accept the sudden decision. The Emperor reminded Kuzunoha of a fiancé waiting for her back home, reinforcing his authority and her obligation. Lloyd attempted to question the decision, but the Emperor insisted details would be explained on the way back, leaving Kuzunoha anxious. Kuzunoha held tightly onto Lloyd, declaring she was already dating him and refusing to return home with her father. The Beast Emperor noticed this defiance, pausing as Lloyd and Kuzunoha braced themselves for his reaction, tense and uncertain. Lloyd carried Bastet through the academy hall, startling everyone as she declared she wouldn't return home. Bastet's declaration drew attention from the Beast Empire leader, who questioned the unusual claim of a human affection. Bastet praised Lloyd's achievements, noting his first-place examination rank and leadership, surprising the leader further. The Beast Empire representatives protested involvement, but Bastet insisted on dragging Lloyd into their affairs, despite objections. The Beast Empire leader proposed starting negotiations anew, demanding Lloyd accompany them to secure Bastet and Princess Kuzunoha's hands. The Beast Empire leader allowed Lloyd to speak while Bastet prepared, sharpening her claws in anticipation of negotiations. Princess Kuzunoha overheard, worried that Lloyd was being pulled into dangerous affairs, despite his honor and restraint. Kuzunoha realized she was the only one who truly understood Lloyd's intentions and felt compelled to intervene. Kuzunoha rushed forward, startling Lloyd and Bastet, as the tension between the Beast Empire representatives escalated. Lloyd and Bastet tried to explain, but Bastet admitted surprise at Lloyd's sudden marriage proposal, leaving everyone stunned. Ars Maria reflected on her life, remembering how she had rejected every marriage proposal, finding them exhausting. Lloyd approached her, noticing her concern that marriage could exist without any real feelings or connection. Ars Maria suggested a plan, proposing that she and Vance pretend for appearances, catching him slightly off guard. Lloyd realized such a scenario would be complicated, and he might never enter that room again safely. Meanwhile, Lloyd was swept along by Bastet's determination, rushing forward despite the chaos, ready to face any challenge. Lloyd studied the water beasts in class, learning their sensitivity and the careful handling required to avoid harm. He nervously prepared to demonstrate for the Emperor, unsure how to approach the unusual audience. Bastet enthusiastically joined him, offering support and collaboration while emphasizing their teamwork in front of classmates. Lloyd followed her guidance, adjusting his actions as she helped him, ensuring they performed the task correctly. Meanwhile, Kuzunoha appeared, playfully scolding them for holding private conversations during class, catching Lloyd and Bastet by surprise. Professor Yuyuka appeared suddenly, surprising Lloyd and Bastet as she insisted on correcting their behavior during class. She noticed Lloyd seemed troubled and offered to hear him out in her lab after school, but he refused. Bastet reminded Lloyd of prior commitments with her father, showing that his schedule was already fully booked. During the class demonstration, a mishap caused the water beasts to react, creating chaos around Lloyd and Bastet. The resulting splash shocked everyone, forcing Lloyd and Bastet to quickly react while Yuyuka scolded them for inattention. Bastet explained to Kanon the confusion caused by Professor Yuyuka, leaving her bewildered about the situation. Both Bastet and Kuzunoha appeared drenched, showing the aftermath of the previous chaotic water beast lesson. The academy bell signaled the third period, classical heavenly language, as the students prepared for class. Lloyd faced both Bastet and Kuzunoha, who reminded him of his pretend boyfriend promises and urged him to stay at the academy. He reluctantly followed them into class, unsure how he would manage the growing responsibilities and playful chaos. Lloyd panicked as a group of strangers suddenly appeared, prompting the teacher to insist they leave immediately. He tried to think of an alternative plan, hoping to convince Princess Kuzunoha to switch over to it. Lloyd felt helpless in the tense situation, realizing he couldn't take any effective action despite his past experience. Bastet questioned Professor Yuyuka's stubbornness, frustrated at the lack of progress and unclear intentions. Professor Yuyuka remained calm and serious, dismissing the tension and insisting there was no need for such worry. Professor Yuyuka stood seriously before Lloyd and Bastet, emphasizing her dedication and intent since joining the academy. She explained that she had abandoned everything to come here, with only the unexplored domain validating her life choices. Yuyuka revealed she had waited forever for someone capable of changing her dull world. Hinting at Lloyd's importance, she declared that unless one was serious enough to stake their entire life on Lloyd, she would not hand him over. Bastet and Lloyd reacted in shock as Yuyuka suddenly approached, intensifying the tension and their uncertainty. Lloyd quickly activated his circular shield, catching Professor Yuyuka before she could fall, preventing a serious accident. He excused himself, stepping back to give her a moment to recover, while warning Bastet and Kuzunoha not to cause trouble. Bastet watched silently, her expression calm but thoughtful, considering the impact of Lloyd's actions and the chaotic situation around them. Raksha moved through the library annex, carefully flipping through reference books, eyes scanning each page with focused precision. She examined records and alibis, comparing names of graduates with residual mana patterns, tracing connections to incidents affecting Lloyd. All evidence pointed clearly to a single culprit, Raksha silently confirmed, noting every detail meticulously in her mind. Her thoughts lingered on motives, wondering why Yuyuka targeted the princesses, and why Lloyd was repeatedly caught in danger. Lloyd appeared suddenly in the library, greeting Raksha with a smile, unaware of the complicated investigation she had uncovered. Raksha noticed an unexpected presence in the restricted library area, eyes widening at the unfamiliar figure approaching silently. Lloyd greeted her politely, calling her by name, demonstrating awareness of her reputation and past accomplishments. The newcomer floated down gracefully, introducing themselves with authority, their presence radiating confidence and command over the space. Lloyd's gaze met the new figure, recognizing their rank and feeling the weight of the encounter. The figure revealed themselves as Camille Lansford, the 60th Dean of the World Magic Academy, surprising Raksha with authority. Lloyd's excitement showed as he realized his identity had been recognized, his reputation as the God-tier guardian acknowledged. Raksha reacted nervously to the praise, hearing others celebrate his achievements, amazed by his remarkable magical abilities. Lloyd admitted feeling unusually comfortable around Professor Mayoria, a sense of ease softening his normally confident demeanor. Raksha observed him closely, noting his youth despite holding the authority of the dean's position, blending charm and experience. She acknowledged Lloyd's unique defenses against her charm magic, realizing his exceptional power and composure made him unlike anyone else. Lloyd smiled politely, noticing the unusual friendliness in others. Remembering how he had behaved in past encounters differently, he focused on the threat to the princesses, analyzing the ongoing incidents and their potential causes carefully. Raksha discussed her investigation with Lloyd, revealing that Professor Yuka, head of domain magic research, might be responsible. Lloyd reacted in shock, unable to believe the accusations, struggling to process the unexpected information immediately. Raksha expressed disbelief and admiration simultaneously, acknowledging Yuka's skill, dedication, and the unfair circumstances created during Lloyd's absence. Lloyd spoke on behalf of the dean, assuring everyone that student safety would now be fully secured. He declared the executive department would handle all potential threats, taking responsibility for protecting the academy. Kuan appeared calmly, floating beside him as Matilda's secretary, her presence providing reassurance to those present. Lloyd expressed gratitude for Professor Mayoria's assistance, reflecting on the challenges of taking over as dean. He guided Raksha to feel at ease, ensuring she could check on her students without concern. Lloyd waved from the balcony, inviting Raksha to speak with him again when she had the time available. He encouraged her to bring the God-tier guardian along next time, showing concern for ongoing safety and collaboration. Lloyd reflected on Yuka's recent actions, considering them unacceptable, while acknowledging the intelligence used to uncover her involvement. He prepared to act immediately, reviewing all information he had obtained to address the situation before it escalated further. Yuka appeared unaware, while Lloyd concluded she was no longer necessary, signaling the end of their current interaction. Kuan explained that recent actions had drawn attention, and the dean had provided a safe way for Yuka to leave. She emphasized that Yuka needed to exit the academy immediately to avoid further complications and potential consequences. Yuka acknowledged the situation, understanding that her recent behavior had gone too far and would have serious repercussions. She realized the strategy involved removing Guardian Vance from her influence, limiting her access to him entirely. Yuka accepted the plan, preparing to act decisively and promising to escalate matters, ensuring her intentions were carried out. The Magic Academy stood tall under the morning sky as Princess Kuzunoha prepared for her next challenge. The Beast Emperor arrived, seeking to bring Kuzunoha home, misunderstanding her intentions with Lloyd at the academy. Kuzunoha realized the Emperor's plan stalled time, complicating her efforts to maintain the pretense of dating Lloyd. She hoped Lloyd would comply, allowing them both to stay at the academy while avoiding confrontation with external pressures. Despite the pretense, Kuzunoha knew the act could not last forever, and accepted the inevitable decisions ahead. Princess Kuzunoha acknowledged the temporary nature of her stay at the academy, knowing challenges would come. She and the Beast Emperor's guardian discussed her potential future as the only rightful heir while standing together. Kuzunoha's companion reflected on small joys, imagining moments of shared laughter and acceptance between them both. Both considered the present carefully, hoping the academy days could remain unchanged, preserving peace for now. Lloyd and Kuzunoha walked side by side, ready to face future trials while cherishing their current companionship. Lloyd waited after classes ended, ensuring he and Princess Kuzunoha could speak privately without interruptions. He suggested she refuse the engagement, but Kuzunoha remained hesitant, conflicted by her duties and the plan. Kuzunoha explained the engagement was a political tool, meant to strengthen alliances and unite rival clans. She detailed the history of the Beast Empire, its civil war, and the careful steps toward treaty negotiations. Kuzunoha decided to insist on her own wishes, ensuring her choices would be respected, while balancing political responsibilities. Kuzunoha recognized that her official decisions in the Beast Empire would have immediate consequences on the clans. She admitted that delaying or avoiding the issue had worked so far, keeping conflicts temporarily at bay. Kuzunoha reflected on her desire to keep things as they are, and to stay true to herself. Lloyd observed her carefully, realizing she fully understood her role as princess and the responsibilities she bore. He saw that the academy provided them both a rare opportunity to enjoy life and grow outside formal duties. Kuzunoha and her companion maintained closeness, cherishing equality and freedom, while away from the political pressures of the Beast Empire. She admitted to Lloyd that she avoided discussing Empire affairs, but knew change was inevitable and unavoidable. Kuzunoha expressed how much she enjoyed being at the academy, embracing a version of herself free from responsibilities. She decided she wanted to stay, appreciating the freedom and friendships she had built with her peers. Despite her role as the heir, Kuzunoha valued her personal freedom and heart, balancing duty with her own desires. Kuzunoha reflected on her desires, realizing the freedom she experienced at the academy was unique compared to her life as heir. She acknowledged that time and circumstances inevitably bring change, and the world outside would not remain constant. Lloyd thought about his eternal role as a guardian, understanding that his desire to help others had never wavered in 1,000 years. Suddenly, a threat appeared, and both Lloyd and Kuzunoha reacted instinctively, moving to protect themselves and others nearby. As they regrouped, Lloyd struggled to understand the unfolding events, while ensuring Kuzunoha and their companions were safe. Mother Mayuria arrived at the academy, noticing that Lloyd had not yet returned from his duties. She was greeted by the familiar magical cat, asking if she was searching for Lloyd and Kanon. Mayuria explained that she had something important to tell Lloyd and wondered where he might be. Neither Lloyd nor Kanon had returned to the dorm, and Mayuria grew concerned about their whereabouts. The magical cat offered Mayuria a ride on its back to help find them and convey her message. Mother Mayuria sent the magical cat to deliver her message, urging the companions to stay safe on their journey. Lloyd noticed Kuon entering the library, her presence signaling something unusual was about to occur. Kuon began accessing the academy's magical infrastructure, quietly preparing to make major changes to the system. Lloyd tried to intervene as Kuon activated programs, adjusting administrator privileges and defense mechanisms within the academy. Using hypnosis magic, Lloyd restrained Kuon's actions, attempting to prevent chaos while maintaining control of the situation. Lloyd observed that Kuon had inserted a dormant spell into the academy's magical system during her work there. He reacted to her erratic behavior, questioning why she disregarded his offer to resolve matters amicably. Kuon's actions baffled him. He struggled to understand why someone so intelligent would act so irrationally. The situation made little sense to Lloyd, deepening his frustration as he tried to assess the threat. Despite the confusion, Lloyd resolved to pursue an alternative solution, aiming to stop the chaos and confront Kuon if needed. Lloyd and Kuzunoha were suddenly caught in chaos as automata attacked, forcing them to react defensively. The automata appeared to be part of the academy's security system, overwhelming the pair with coordinated assaults. A mysterious figure observed from the shadows, smiling enigmatically, hinting at a deeper plan behind the automata's actions. Lloyd and Kanon faced a sudden swarm of automata descending on the academy grounds, their weapons raised aggressively. Lloyd realized the machines, normally protectors of students, were attacking instead, leaving him puzzled about the cause. He activated his guardian arts, shifting into its second form, and prepared to confront the multiple automata circling them. Lloyd severed the controlling mana, immediately stopping all the automata, leaving them collapsed around the students and academy grounds. Turning to Kanon, Lloyd checked if she was unharmed, relieved that she remained safe amidst the chaos. The automata suddenly went berserk, forcing teachers to order students to evacuate while Kanon and Lloyd assessed the danger. Lloyd received instructions from Kanon to hurry to her location. Realizing the evacuation meant the chaos escalated quickly. Across the school, all automata began attacking uncontrollably, interrupting rituals, leaving students shocked and scrambling to understand the sudden disorder. Students regrouped under guidance, following instructions carefully while trying to stay together, trusting each other amid the overwhelming automata threat. Lloyd and Kanon moved protectively among friends, vowing not to let any harm come to anyone around them. The automata's numbers surged again, alarming Lloyd and Kanon, as they realized handling them individually would no longer succeed. Lloyd activated Guardian Art's first form, deploying multiple mana threads simultaneously, trying to control the swarming automata effectively. He confirmed all automata were connected through mana wires, knowing that neutralizing the source would stop their uncontrolled attacks. Despite analyzing the situation, Lloyd worried about leaving Kanon alone at the evacuation shelter, torn between strategy and protection. Kanon called out urgently for Roken's nearby presence, signaling hope as they prepared to confront the overwhelming automata threat together. Roken revealed himself as the guard of Princess Kuzunoha, stepping forward to defend against the chaos threatening students. Kanon urged Roken to stay by her side, emphasizing the danger and her need for protection immediately. Roken pledged his duty, following Princess Kuzunoha's orders, committing himself to protect those entrusted to his care. Kanon commanded Roken to safeguard Yuzuriha and herself, asserting her authority and the urgency of defending Lloyd. Roken accepted without hesitation, leaving Kanon in Lloyd's hands, ready to act decisively against the automata threat approaching. Lloyd and Kanon quickly prepared to follow Roken, acknowledging his support while hurrying to address the spreading automata threat. They summoned Sharky, planning to track the source of the uncontrolled mana and locate the main cause of chaos. Lloyd determined to follow the mana threads directly to their origin, aiming to stop the automata and end danger. Kanon watched anxiously as Lloyd and Sharky surged forward, hoping to reach Princess Kuzunoha safely amid the chaotic battlefield. Tet received orders to follow them, preparing to assist the group while keeping an eye on the surrounding threats. Tet struggled to keep pace, carrying Kanon as Roken pushed forward, chasing the rapidly moving mana source relentlessly. Yuyuka observed from above, questioning the intentions behind the pursuit, and whether the focus was truly on the princesses. Roken and allies realized a malfunction caused the automata chaos, preparing to search thoroughly for the endangered princesses. Roken instructed others to remain at the palace, while he and Tet followed Lloyd, ensuring proper guidance and protection. Determined, Roken prepared to pay respects to the kingdom's true master, balancing duty, loyalty, and the ongoing mission's urgency. Lloyd and Kanon arrived at the building where Princess Hiyori had been taken, realizing a provocation awaited them. The mana flow was stagnant, unlike previous attacks, signaling that something in the facility had changed dramatically. Kanon detected a sweet, poisonous smell, confirming the presence of the perpetrators, while Lloyd guided her safely behind him. Lloyd understood the culprit responsible for the incidents was ahead, determined to end the attacks and protect the school. A chilling laugh echoed, alerting Lloyd and Kanon that the mastermind behind the chaos had finally revealed themselves. Princess Yuyuka expressed relief, thrilled that Lloyd had come for her, confirming she had been anticipating his arrival. Lloyd, shocked, addressed Yuyuka, questioning her presence and motives, struggling to comprehend the unexpected reunion in the chaotic situation. Yuyuka revealed she had been waiting for Lloyd all this time, patiently anticipating his arrival, without hesitation. Lloyd recognized her as Sir Vance's ally, fully understanding the connection and the importance of her assistance. Now Lloyd's wide-eyed expression reflected shock and determination, ready to confront the mastermind behind the incidents threatening the princesses. Sir Vance entered the dark hall, sensing an unusual presence. Yuyuka appeared, floating with radiant energy, and called his name. Yuyuka revealed her plan, explaining she orchestrated attacks across the academy to ensure Vance would come. His attention was fully captured. She smiled brightly, satisfied that events unfolded exactly as she had predicted, feeling triumphant about her careful manipulation. Vance froze, shocked and uncertain, trying to understand the sudden revelation and her intentions. Thoughts raced through his mind. How could Yuyuka know him? She had controlled everything, leaving him speechless and cautious. Yuyuka acknowledged Vance's confusion, explaining her sudden confession was abrupt, and she wished a calmer discussion first. Vance struggled silently, bewildered by her words, questioning her actions, and seeking to understand her motives clearly. He demanded reasons for her attacks on the princesses, confronting the chaos she had caused strategically. Yuyuka revealed all actions were to find him, confirm his identity, and help him reclaim himself. She expressed gratitude for her assistance, witnessing Vance's domain magic firsthand. Feeling truly thankful for their help, Vance realized Yuyuka orchestrated chaos to force him to use his domain artists. Understanding her careful planning, Yuyuka smiled, explaining she had discovered his past life and labored tirelessly to aid and guide him. Lloyd, confused, noticed she addressed him as Vance, leaving him puzzled by her unfamiliar choice of name. Yuyuka expressed sorrow for his loneliness, acknowledging the changed world, promising support, and easing his fear and isolation. She extended her hand, inviting him to a new domain, claiming she alone truly understood him completely. Yuyuka urged Vance to unleash all his power, excited to witness the full extent of his abilities. Vance resisted, refusing to go with her, determined not to be manipulated despite her persuasive encouragement. Yuyuka exclaimed that he failed to understand her intentions, emphasizing her struggle and efforts for his sake. Vance insisted his current duty was protecting Kanon and the princesses, maintaining responsibility despite her insistence. He declared he would stop her, preventing further harm and ending the chaos she caused immediately. Yuyuka laughed, enjoying the chaos, showing amusement as she maintained control over Vance, pulling him closer. Vance struggled, surprised by Yuyuka's decision to leave with him, feeling his mana being drained rapidly. Yuyuka declared she would destroy Lloyd entirely, reminding Vance of his past as a knight, relentless and cruel. She urged him to release control, claiming his consciousness only hindered the process, insisting he let go completely. Suddenly, Kanon appeared, surprising Yuyuka, and questioning her presence, interrupting the confrontation with her unexpected arrival. Kanon shouted at Yuyuka, demanding she release Lloyd, unable to accept his suffering and her cruelty. Yuyuka rebuked Kanon sharply, insisting she should not interfere or question actions she did not fully comprehend. Kanon admitted her confusion, realizing she did not understand the full situation or Yuyuka's reasoning clearly. Despite misunderstanding, Kanon resolved to protect anyone suffering before her, refusing to abandon those in danger. Yuyuka laughed, mocking Kanon's determination, emphasizing her own control over the situation and her overwhelming power. Yuyuka angrily criticized Vance, declaring her hatred for careless people, blaming him for not understanding consequences. Kanon struggled against Yuyuka's bindings, hearing her harsh words about making no real decisions or responsibility. Yuyuka asserted her unwavering resolve, emphasizing her sacrifices and the stakes she risked, claiming she could not retreat. Kanon realized Yuyuka was someone determined, who had chosen how to live, contrasting with her own uncertainty. Kanon reflected on her own fear of being different, feeling hesitant and unsure compared to Yuyuka's conviction. Kanon reflected on her fear of change, struggling to separate herself from past dependency and uncertainty. She recognized the difficulty of embracing individuality, acknowledging her emotions, and accepting herself as distinct from others. Kanon resolved to act alone, confronting the situation independently, determined to reclaim Lloyd from Yuyuka's control. She declared her decision, fighting for her own desires, determined to protect Lloyd and preserve her school life. Lloyd watched Princess Kuzunoha launch forward, her magical energy stretching through the hall as she prepared to confront the enemy. Kuzunoha summoned powerful beasts, an elephant and a leopard, charging toward her target with unrelenting force. The summoned creatures advanced, but the enemy, calm and determined, dismissed their attacks, preparing a counter with a wave of his hand. The enemy unleashed a destructive magic, sweeping through Kuzunoha's summoned forces, yet she remained determined to continue her assault. Kuzunoha realized the enemy had not intended direct harm, prompting a sudden shift in strategy and understanding between them. Princess Kuzunoha charged forward, determined to free Lloyd from his bindings, her magical energy surging around her. She collided with an enemy force, shouting her resolve, refusing to let anyone take Lloyd from her. Kuzunoha summoned multiple beast spirits, launching them one after another, astonishing Lloyd with her relentless power. The battle intensified as Kuzunoha led the charge, guiding her allies through the chaotic confrontation. She finally spotted familiar faces, including her brother and Professor Yuyuka, signaling reinforcements and hope for their mission. Princess Kuzunoha and allies approached the academy rooftop, ready to confront the enemy threatening Lloyd and the city below. The enemy assessed the situation, noting that Kuzunoha had already hunted her target efficiently, leaving only the final task. Kuzunoha focused, preparing to strike, her determination evident as she confronted the cornered foe directly. She summoned multiple automatons, surrounding the enemy and preparing to overwhelm them with precision and strength. Lloyd watched cautiously as Kuzunoha became completely surrounded by her summoned forces, ready to execute her plan flawlessly. Princess Kuzunoha focused on her enemies, preparing to intercept incoming attacks from multiple automatons moving swiftly toward her. She dodged and countered, narrowly avoiding the falling weapons, while maintaining control over her summoned beasts. The enemy decided it was better to finish Kuzunoha off properly, anticipating her next move and closing the distance. Lloyd realized the situation was dangerous, watching Kuzunoha surrounded by hostile forces, understanding the threat level she faced. The enemies were positioned too far for their attacks to reach, leaving Kuzunoha and her allies to plan their next strategy. The Beast Emperor struggled to maintain composure, realizing his voice might reach those outside his kingdom during the chaos. Advisors reminded him to stay calm, concerned about the non-Beast Empire civilians nearby, emphasizing the importance of leadership. Princess Kuzunoha prepared to react to the growing threat, her determination unwavering as the enemy pressed forward. The Beast Emperor recognized his personal connection, roaring powerfully, signaling his presence and intent to protect his daughter. Kuzunoha and her allies were shaken by the tremendous roar, startled by the sudden display of force and sound. Princess Kuzunoha sensed her father's roar reverberating through the battlefield, surprising both her and Lloyd. The automatons faltered under the sudden energy, displaying signs of mana overload as Kuzunoha struggled to maintain control. She felt the roar resonate with her heart, giving her unexpected strength and determination to continue fighting. Lloyd noticed his restraints weakening as his mana surged, allowing him to begin breaking free from the bindings. Ted observed Kuzunoha's condition, realizing her strength came from the Beast Emperor's rallying roar, freeing her from previous limitations. Princess Kuzunoha and the Beast Emperor unleashed the Beast Empire's ultimate technique, a powerful war cry, shaking the battlefield. The roar amplified mana across the area, pushing everyone's energy to its limits and testing control over their power. Kuzunoha reached out toward Lloyd, focusing her energy and determination to aid him through the chaos. She safely landed near Lloyd, bringing him within reach and ensuring his protection from the surrounding threat. Together, Kuzunoha and Lloyd faced the remaining enemies, prepared to confront the automatons with combined strength and strategy. The Beast Emperor continued to exert his presence, overwhelming the battlefield with his immense mana and aura. Lloyd finally located the source of the disturbance, discovering the enemy who had been controlling the conflict. Princess Kuzunoha realized the enemy's threat. If the enemy succeeded, it would render Lloyd's efforts meaningless. Suddenly, the enemy vanished in a flash, leaving both Kuzunoha and Lloyd shocked and ready to respond. Lloyd noticed Arsmeria falling, her body helpless as she plummeted from the cliff's edge. Panic surged through him. He realized she no longer resisted, having abandoned both her fight and will. The gravity of her past crimes weighed on him. Determined, Lloyd stretched his hand forward. His resolve was clear. He had to save her before she hit the ground. Arsmeria's hair and clothes twisted midair as Lloyd cast a circular shield attempting to halt her descent. The shield cracked. Sharky sprang to catch her as Lloyd's guardian arts failed, but the princess was finally saved. Lloyd realized Sharky was too fragile to stop Arsmeria's fall. Panic rose as she sped toward the ground. Arsmeria's will rejected Lloyd's guardian arts, pushing him away. He struggled with the refusal of his protection. Lloyd felt helpless. He had never faced someone actively refusing rescue, leaving him unsure how to act. He considered using the anti-war domain, hoping its control over actions could stop Arsmeria's descent safely. Though incomplete, Lloyd's domain arts reached out. He grabbed Arsmeria's hand, risking everything to finally save her. Princess Kuzunoha urged Lloyd to use her mana. He prepared, trusting her plan and willing to follow her lead together. They leapt. Lloyd held tightly as Kuzunoha guided their combined powers through the air toward Arsmeria. Their mana merged, forming a golden two-layered domain surrounding Arsmeria. Warm light enveloped her as she hovered safely. The domain floated steadily, stabilizing Arsmeria midair. Lloyd realized the combined magic was stronger than either of them alone. Time seemed suspended. Arsmeria's descent halted, and she remained suspended above the ground, bewildered but unharmed. Arsmeria recalled a familiar color from her past. It stirred forgotten memories buried deep within her mind. She looked toward the horizon. Light spilled across the mountains, reminding her of sunsets long ago. Floating within the two-layered domain, Arsmeria felt the freedom and power she had never truly experienced before. Slowly, she descended safely to the ground, the magic supporting her every movement and holding her steady. Lloyd and Princess Kuzunoha approached her. They had succeeded, and Kuzunoha cheered, celebrating the miraculous rescue together. Arsmeria stared blankly, absorbing the victory around her. Lloyd and Princess Kuzunoha celebrated, relieved she was safe. She remained seated, hesitant. Lloyd approached cautiously, unsure if she fully understood her safety yet. Suddenly, a shadow struck Arsmeria. She struggled as an unknown force restrained her, catching everyone off guard. The vice principal and another staff member appeared, confirming they had finally caught her. The threat was under control. Arsmeria sat safely, restrained but unharmed. The staff thanked Lloyd and Kuzunoha, praising their actions for minimizing damage. The vice principal addressed the group. Arsmeria would be held captive and interrogated before any punishment. Lloyd and Princess Kuzunoha listened quietly, the staff advising them not to speak about the events publicly. The trio watched as Arsmeria was escorted away. Lloyd reflected on the situation, unsure how negotiations would unfold. He considered asking Professor Yuyuka about his past life, hoping she might provide guidance in the future. With the immediate danger over, Lloyd and Kuzunoha breathed a sigh of relief, knowing the incidents were finally contained. Princess Kuzunoha suddenly remembered something important they had forgotten to do after class. Lloyd looked concerned. They hurried, realizing they might have unintentionally stood someone up. Panic pushed them to move quickly. Kuzunoha tried to recall the details of the missed plan, her mind racing as Lloyd followed closely. An elder appeared, observing them. He noted their strength and perseverance, qualities that marked them as worthy of an emperor. Lloyd arrived at the forest clearing and saw the Beast Emperor standing tall before him. Kuzunoha's eyes widened, recognizing her father. The Beast Emperor nodded, solemnly, acknowledging Lloyd's efforts. Kuzunoha felt both pride and surprise at his unexpected presence. He praised the wild power within Kuzunoha. She stood firm, absorbing the weight of his words and responsibility. Suddenly, another figure shouted her name. Kuzunoha turned in shock, seeing reinforcements rushing toward her, urgency written in their expressions. Kuzunoha froze, glancing back toward Lloyd. Her mind raced as Yuzuriha appeared, signaling new challenges and connections emerging from this reunion. Kuzunoha paused, listening closely. Yuzuriha stepped forward, calmly telling her it was okay. Tension slowly eased in the clearing. Yuzuriha decided to try her approach, feeling the responsibility to act, despite uncertainty. She moved determinedly toward the next challenge. Lloyd observed, realizing Yuzuriha's methods were flawed, yet her resolve and emotions made her exceptionally strong in battle. Kuzunoha clenched her fists. She knew she had to face herself and protect everything she could not afford to lose. After the confrontation, Yuzuriha and Kuzunoha agreed to stay together at the academy. Lloyd nodded, watching their new commitment unfold. Lloyd the Beast Emperor, and Kuzunoha stood silently. Tension hung in the air, each considering the weight of the moment. The Beast Emperor explained that to become a true leader, he needed to grow independently and understand the outside world. Kuzunoha reflected, realizing the happiness of a nation depended on its leader. Responsibility and empathy guided her thoughts. She envisioned the day a new beast empire would begin, anticipating celebration and hope across the land. Kuzunoha and Yuzuriha smiled together, ready to support the next generation, prepared to face challenges with courage and joy. Kuzunoha flew gracefully above the clearing, catching sight of Lloyd. The King of Cats called out, alerting everyone of his presence. Lloyd and Tet turned toward him. The King of Cats reminded Lloyd of his rightful claim as the Empire's ruler. He praised Lloyd, calling him the true leader and symbol of their country's ideals, admired for freedom and strength. The King of Cats confirmed the Empire had re-established order, and was ready to welcome Lloyd's return. He warned that unification was not harmony, emphasizing that leadership required more than mere consolidation, needing wisdom and understanding. Kuzunoha and Yuzuriha flew alongside the King of Cats. He explained harmony among beasts means living in their own spheres. The king warned that if the strong continue to dominate, the foolish wars of the past will repeat endlessly. The Beast Emperor acknowledged this truth. He clenched his hand, agreeing that change was necessary for the future. He reflected that within the next ruler, hope for freedom dwells. The future generation would embody this ideal. The Beast Emperor entrusted Kuzunoha to lead, asking the King of Cats to watch over her as she ushers a new era. The Beast Emperor observed Kuzunoha, noting she already wielded the strength he had once sought. Hope filled the clearing. The King of Cats looked toward the horizon, anticipating the infinite possibilities for beastfolk and a land where freedom would flourish. The Beast Emperor respected Kuzunoha's decisions, honoring her resolve to pursue freedom while guiding the next generation with care. He told Kuzunoha and Yuzuriha they could stay and learn at their own pace until the mantle would be officially passed. Kuzunoha smiled confidently, assuring that she would handle the engagement, embracing her role while preparing for the responsibilities ahead. Kuzunoha hugged Yuzuriha tightly, joyfully declaring they would never be separated. Relief and happiness filled the group. Lloyd breathed a sigh of relief. Kuzunoha nodded, affirming that everything was now under control, easing the tension. Lloyd knelt before the Beast Emperor, apologizing for previous actions and acknowledging the trust placed upon him. The Beast Emperor explained that Kuzunoha was beyond control, leaving her care in Lloyd's hands while respecting her independence. He teased Lloyd, questioning if this was the lover he could not bear to part with, prompting surprise and laughter. Lloyd nervously spoke up, noting that a misunderstanding between him and Kuzunoha had yet to be cleared, tension lingering. Kuzunoha reflected, realizing she had never connected so well with anyone. Besides Yuzuriha, discovering a newfound affinity, Tet reacted dramatically, shouting at Kuzunoha to avoid making the situation more complicated, expressing frustration and concern. Kuzunoha apologized profusely, flustered, while Yuzuriha and Lloyd tried to understand. Chaos and laughter mixed as they attempted resolution.